$29. Price and participation may vary. Valid for product of equal or lesser value. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
The future of medicine is here at QC Kinetics. QC is the nation's leader in the most exciting revolution in pain management we've seen in decades, regenerative medicine. If you are tired of achy joints, if your joint pain is keeping you from doing what you love, you need to call QC Kinetics now. Surgery, steroids, drugs, these are no longer your best options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative treatments that deliver lasting results. We're talking natural biologics, using your body's own power to repair and restore damaged tissue. QC Kinetics is under the leadership of National Medical Director Dr. Mitchell Sheencup. Dr. Sheencup is a pioneer in this field with 20 years of clinical work, tons of research, teaching, and publishing. He wants to get you relief with a needle, not a knife. Call QC Kinetics now to learn more about some exciting options. This is a revolutionary approach that can get you long-term relief with no downtime. 919-400-5473. With locations in Cary, Clayton, Raleigh, and Wake Forest. 919-400-5473.
This hour on the Triangle Sports Leader is brought to you by the Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
Shoots, he scores!
Go to GotBryan.com. That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
This is the Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Kane's keeping it going. Svechnikov with it. He'll dance around. He'll travel across, moving. It went off the crossbar. He thinks he had a goal. I think he had a goal. We'll wait for a review if we get a horn.
Well, you'd hear the buzzer from the league if that puck, even during play, if it did go in. Right time to try it. What a forecheck. You staggered in line changes. Andre's been good.
Now McAvoy will get this in
We
deep.
might hear a buzzer from the league. Here it is. Here it is. Beautiful. Lacrosse goal number 3.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Adam Gold. Graham Hill is here.
Barracuda.
Little Barracuda, right? That's not what they're playing amidst the pines and the azaleas of Augusta National, where the Masters begins tomorrow. We'll have the par 3 tournament coming up this afternoon. We will not be bringing that to you live. You don't control the cameras in there, do you, Graham?
I do not, but yes, I do. What do you need me to do?
Just if we get a two-shot here, I don't know. What is a two-shot? I have no idea. Yeah, there you go. Whatever the wide-angle shot is, I just like two-shot. We have azaleas here, and it's just coincidental that it comes because the same week of the Masters, so they deliver these to employees today. So because the Masters starts tomorrow, I just thought rather than put the azaleas on the floor, which is probably where they belong right now, I would put them on the table until somebody from management told me to take them down.
I'm all about decorating the studio.
So, yes. And if the folks at Augusta were here,
Georgia,
if that's pronounced not bad, they would have already made sure that these were in bloom. You know, Georgia. They control when the azaleas bloom.
Yep.
Even if it's too warm and they start to bloom early, they pack all the azalea beds with ice, and they keep them cold until they can determine when they will bloom. I kid you not, they control everything.
If I had planned this out a little bit better just to fit the whole Masters theme this week, I would have dressed as a caddy tomorrow for your show.
Oh, but I'm not even going to be here tomorrow.
Oh, so you're not even going to be here tomorrow.
No, I have obligations that take me away from work for the next 2 days. Believe it or not, the obligation is not to watch the Masters.
Okay.
I just have things that...
It's a soccer tournament, isn't it?
No, it is not. I have a soccer-free weekend. Now, I'm not saying that this weekend will not be spent watching the Masters, but tomorrow and Friday will not be. I have just, with travel, with hurricane stuff, we're trying to find time to fit stuff that has to be fit in. Azaleas. There you go. We got a very, very busy show. We're going to start a little earlier with guests than we normally would because there's a lot going on. So let's see how much we can get to in the next 6.5 minutes. All right. We're going to begin actually where we're going to start with our first guest. Just a quick note because I'm sure by now people who follow Carolina or Duke know this. Seth Trimble in the transfer portal. He's not the only Carolina player to go into the portal. James Okonkwo also went into the portal. He's a freshman forward that barely played, but so I understand why if you expected to play and you're not playing, or they've been recruiting players who are better than you at your position, free to go. But Seth Trimble, which is a little bit of a, I don't know if it's red flag's not the right word, but he was in line to play more this upcoming year. Depends on what R.J. Davis is going to do, but we'll talk to Brendan Marks in about 6 minutes about that. And for Duke, Mark Mitchell has followed Christian Reeves into the portal. Reeves is a really tall guy, about 7'1" or 7'2". Played a little bit early in the season, got hurt, probably wasn't ultimately going to factor in, not really ready physically, I think, to compete with where Duke needs. But Mark Mitchell saw the incoming recruiting class, which is all filled with wings and big guys.
And 4 stars and 5 stars and more 4 stars and more
Mitchell
5
was a
stars.
5-star.
Yeah, and
right?
a starter.
Right, and a vital piece of this Duke team. But he saw the writing on the wall. All of these guys coming in seem to be higher on the food chain, so Mark's got 2 more years of eligibility, and so he's going to enter the transfer portal. It's what is going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen with some other players. There might be more for Duke going into the portal other than these 2. So we can speculate on those, but that's not my job. We'll talk to Brendan Marks about it in a little bit. But that is a real issue. John Calipari, just to keep it in basketball, shock! He's the basketball coach at Arkansas.
Who would have thought?
Who knew? He did the video the other day, right? Remember, did you see the video?
Yes.
Right?
I saw him pushing a stroller with nobody in it and a dog walked behind him.
I found that to be interesting.
I did too. Was the stroller for the dog or was it for his imaginary grandson or grandbaby?
I watched that. I said the same thing. I watched this like, why is he pushing a stroller? The thing says he's walking his dog. I'm like, yeah? So did he have like supplies? In this, there was no child in there.
Yeah.
The whole thing was bizarre. I agree.
Was it John Cena's child? I don't know.
Can't see it. So, anyway, yeah. But the video that he recorded from his home, so sincere, where he said, well, I've been presented with some other opportunities, and we're kicking through those. And the next day, he's introduced as the Arkansas coach, which the whole thing was a joke anyway. Look, let's be honest. John Calipari left because Kentucky wanted to fire him. They just didn't want to pay the buyout.
Sure.
And it's always smart for a person like John Calipari to stay one step ahead of the posse, right? So he's getting a 5-year deal at Arkansas. He'll do well there. Arkansas has a proud basketball tradition.
They've been on the come up.
Oh, I mean, look, you don't have to go back that far where Arkansas was a national power.
Yeah.
Like a legit national power under Nolan Richardson. So they won a national championship, competed at the top of the sport for a long time. So, yeah, I mean, Arkansas is fine. It's a good program. It's a step down from Kentucky, but that's what happens when you're going to get fired from Kentucky. You're not leaving Kentucky and going to the Lakers.
Yeah.
Right? If you're going to get fired at Kentucky, which is what they would have done if they didn't have to pay him $30-some-odd million to go away. So, again, all stuff for Brendan Marks. Let me get to something else real quick. Carolina Hurricanes played their best game of the season last night. I am not taking anything other than that for an answer. I tried to get more out of the head coach in a quick conversation today, which I had with him about the disallowed goal. I'm like, that was the best game you guys played. He goes, we were good defensively. Rod does not like, we see it all the time. We see it with players. We see it with games. He does not like to heap praise on the team. It's just not his nature. That was the best game they played all year. All 3 goals looked the same. Not that the goals were the same, because the Svetch lacrosse goal was different, and the Gensel goal was different, and the Teravainen goal was different. But they were all created in exactly the same manner. It was hard work, puck pursuit, puck retrieval, hemming the Boston Bruins in, And it created the opportunity that you eventually took advantage of. If you were defining Carolina Hurricanes hockey, that was it. It was probably the best forechecking, neutral zone pressure game they had all year long to a team like that in their building where the game mattered to both teams. Boston, trying to hold off Florida, which I think they're going to do anyway, but also, if the Bruins and the Hurricanes were to meet in the Eastern Conference Finals, based on last night's result, the Hurricanes owned the tiebreaker.
Yep.
If we both finish with the same record, and we are now on 107 points each, if they both finish with the same record, meaning they win out, and Carolina is not playing a playoff team from here to the end of the season, doesn't mean you're going to win, just means that the path is smoother. And I don't think Boston's got a difficult run in either. Either way, if the two teams finish with the same record, Hurricanes have home ice advantage should they meet in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Love to see it.
You'd rather have it than not. Although, I would point out, the road team won each of the 3 games in the season series. Carolina won twice in Boston and really was embarrassed in the first period 6 days ago now in Raleigh when the Bruins led 3-0 after one and then just completely locked it down. But if you watch the game, you knew the Boston Bruins wanted badly to win that game. You could tell by the way they played in the first period. As we wait on Brendan Marks, the Hurricanes, I think, got jobbed out of a goal. Now, I seem to be alone in this, except maybe for a handful of other people. And I'm not just talking about fans. Fans are always going to look at it through the lens of their team, and I get it. And I'm a fan too. But I also think that I have some credibility here as being objective. And I can't for the life of me see a photograph that definitively tells me that that puck was not across the line. It blows me away that the NHL wiped off a goal when there's zero definitive proof that that did not cross the line. I get it. You can look at it. It's like the blue dress and the gold dress. Remember that whole blue dress, gold dress? Like some people saw blue, some people saw gold. I don't know the right answer. And maybe that's exactly what this is. But it's not definitive. The closest thing we have to a good enough photograph comes from behind the puck. Geometry. The line is linear. It's two-dimensional. The puck is not two-dimensional. So if the photograph is not directly over it, the photograph there is an element of inaccuracy that is built into that. We cannot tell. Here's what I don't understand. 2 things, and I'll be really quick because I don't want Brendan Marks to hang up. The first thing is, if we can tell whether a serve in tennis, moving at 135 miles an hour, catches the back of the service line through a computer, you're telling me we can't tell definitively if a puck that is not moving at rest is across the line completely or not. You're telling me that. Okay, I get it. Do we have lasers? Right? We can't get a laser line from one goalpost to the other, right along the back of the goal line, that we have the photograph. Let's put the line in. Now let's see. If the puck is touching the line, it's green. If the puck is not touching the line, it's red. We can't have that?
We're going to have to get a robotic net.
I don't understand.
A robotic net that tells you instantly.
And can we get the NHL to simply provide their evidence to each broadcast? That's it. Here's our evidence. Boom. Why can't we do that? We get it with offside all the time. It's way late if we ever get it. Anyway, I might be off my soapbox or not. We might get back on it later. Brendan Marks, at Brendan R. Marks, from The Athletic, covers Carolina, covers the entire sport. He was at the Final Four, and he joins us on the Adam Gold Show. You caught me at a fired-up moment, sir. How are you?
I sure did. You have enough fire for the both of us. I'm just coming out of my Final Four sleep coma, so go off. I trust you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the confidence. All right, so we got transfer portal news for both schools that you cover primarily over the last 24 hours. Let's start with Carolina because I think there's offshoot conversations here. Seth Trimble entering the portal. I know James Okonkwo also entered. He didn't play really at all. If I don't remember you probably didn't play much. And there's players coming in that Carolina is recruiting, and he saw the writing on the wall. But Seth Trimble, explain this decision as best you can.
Yeah, well, first of all, again, this is not the transfer decision of 4 or 5 seasons ago where it was so rare to have people hop in schools. Like, I try and say this every off season now. This is standard.
Right.
There are players who are going to leave both Duke and North Carolina and NC State every single off season from here on out. That's just the way things are going to be. It's college basketball free agency, so don't try and take it too personally. As it pertains specifically to Seth, I think, you look at, first of all, this is a loss for North Carolina.
Yeah.
There's no way around that. In my opinion, he was probably the best perimeter defender on the team. Either he or Jalen Withers was the most athletic player on the team. We saw that with a couple of the highlight reel dunks he had. The big thing is Seth Trimble, I think at this point in his career, sees himself as a potential starting caliber point guard. And quite frankly, that was just never going to be the case next season in North Carolina. With Elliot Cadeau expected to be back. And then obviously the writing on the wall that potentially RJ Davis could also be back and use his COVID year of eligibility. So for Seth, it's about going somewhere where you can probably find more minutes. You can probably find a starting opportunity. For North Carolina, as we saw in their NCAA tournament loss to Alabama in the Sweet 16, his lack of ability to consistently stretch the floor was something that was going to inherently limit his playing time. So I wish Seth all the best, but it's one of those things where 5 seasons ago, he probably sticks around and develops and is a starter as a senior, but he doesn't have to wait that long given the portal these days.
Right. So it leads me to the next conversation is that do we anticipate now RJ Davis coming back and being the backcourt with Elliot Cadeau?
Well, so this is an interesting situation because obviously RJ Davis does have one more season, and there's 3 options on the table here, right? Like option A is he comes back and will be handsomely compensated to do so.
Right.
B, he tries to test his professional luck. It does not appear based on, for example, The Athletic, our current draft expert, Sam Vecini, does not have RJ being selected in his most recent mock draft, does not have him among his top 60 picks,
right?
Or top 60 players on his big board. But he could still try his professional luck. He would probably get a 2-way, probably go to summer league, try and, basically fill in a bench microwave scoring spot, which I think that possibility exists for him.
Sure.
Or option C, which is the one that nobody's really talking about right now, and I don't think is very likely, but we at least have to mention, which is that RJ Davis does all 3. He could declare for the NBA draft. He can also maintain his eligibility, and he can also elect to enter the transfer portal with the option to come back to North Carolina.
Like Bronny James.
Yes.
No, seriously.
So all of those options are on the table. To me, the way that I see the situation, based on what I have been told after North Carolina season immediately ended, it sounded like the plan for RJ Davis was to enter the NBA draft while maintaining his eligibility. And I think that's what we're going to see with a couple of guys, both at North Carolina and Duke. They're going to go. They're going to see what the feedback is in May. They're going to go through draft workouts, go to the combine potentially, and then based on the feedback, make their decision. Ultimately, I believe that he's going to realize he's most valuable at North Carolina and return next season. But also, I will say there's something to having been in school for 4 years and just being ready to move on to the next step of your life.
100%, and I know we're going to get to that also with one of the Duke players, Mark Mitchell. This is a case where he sees the incoming class, which is loaded with 3s, 4s, and 5s, and understands that playing time was not guaranteed, even though he would be a junior and upperclassman, and they can certainly use some experience. But these other guys were like himself. He was a 5-star recruit as well, but these other guys might be 5-star NBA guys.
Right. And I think for Mark, the positional overlap is also like a skill overlap thing. That's the thing that really hurts him because, I mean, we just saw Connecticut win the national title. They didn't have a player under 6'4" in their starting lineup. Like, you can start a really big lineup, but for Duke next year, you already know that Cooper Flagg is going to be starting, probably the 3 or the 4. You already know that Kaman Malwalk, the 7'1" South Sudanese center, he's going to be starting. Both of those guys can shoot the ball. I would not classify either of them as a knockdown shooter.
Right.
And so if you have those two guys already basically built into your starting lineup, which they will be, they have the potential to be the number 1 and 2 picks in the draft next year. That then means if you have Mark Mitchell on the floor with them, suddenly you don't have as much shooting around those guys as I believe John Shire would like. And so it's not just a minutes thing. It's a skill overlap situation. Those two guys are going to be getting more of them. And listen, like if Mark had the ability to stretch the floor consistently, I don't know that he makes this decision. But the other thing to mention about Duke is the greater context here, which is that John Shire did not have enough scholarships for all of his players, and Mark is not going to be the only player to enter the transfer portal or to go to the NBA. We obviously expect more of those decisions are going to come. But this is just the first in a sort of necessary roster management situation that John Shire is working with. So obviously you would rather not lose a 5-star guy, but John Shire has so much talent. It's crazy to say, but he can certainly survive losing Mark Mitchell.
They've got like 6 5-star guys coming in. It's insane. And Isaiah Evans is going to – I mean, I can't imagine Isaiah Evans isn't going to start. He'll be at the 3. Flagg will be at the 4. Malawak will be at the – I know I mispronounced his name – will be at the 5. You still have Patrick Ngongba, who is a 5-star power forward center. You've got shooters coming in. Before I even broach who might follow him out, I mean, we could probably be logical about it. What do we know about the guard situation? Jeremy Roach in the same position as R.J. Davis. And how long until we find out the plans of Jared McCain?
Yeah, so to start with Jeremy Roach, like you mentioned, a similar situation to R.J. Davis. I would actually say that R.J., I don't think this is a secret, probably has a better opportunity to go pro.
Yes.
His stock is never going to be higher than it is right now. Jeremy Roach, his value is going to be at its maximum in Durham next season. And so this with Jeremy Roach, I think the situation really is, do you want to come back to college? Do you want to do another year of school, or are you at that point in your life that you're ready to move on? Like, think about how many players Jeremy Roach has now played with. If he comes back for another season, like, he will have played with more than a full starting lineup worth of NBA players who have come and gone through Durham. I think it is in Jeremy Roach's best interest to return. I think that if he comes back, that to me is the greatest question I have about Duke's roster next season. Who is the point guard? Who is the guy putting it all together? I think that Jeremy Roach solves that. He is the best solution to that question right now. And so I am operating as if Jeremy Roach is going to be back next year. Again, similar with R.J. Davis to an even greater extent, I would not expect him to be drafted. I think he would have a more difficult time getting a two-way. He would have some summer league opportunities, obviously, but his value is going to be at its highest if he's back in the Duke Blue Devil uniform next year. The situation with Jared McCain, listen, the draft is there for the taking for him.
Yeah.
This is a down year in terms of professional prospects. The fact that he did what he did in the NCAA tournament, just in speaking with some agents and speaking with some scouts over the course of the past couple of weeks, people were really impressed with him. The knocks on Jared at this point, the biggest one is probably athleticism. It's the fact that he doesn't necessarily create his own shot, but the shooting is what it is. He's a plus rebounder for his size. He improved as a defender, although that's something he's going to have to keep getting better at. And I think, a spot in the 20s in the NBA draft is certainly there within reach for him. So I would be surprised if he was back next season. This is going to be kind of a test case in my eyes of, like, what is Duke's NIL situation? I think if you back up the Brinks truck, there's probably an opportunity for Jared McCain to come back. And, oh, my God, he would be a perfect fit on next year's roster.
Yep.
But can you make it worth his while to turn down a likely first-round spot? That's the biggest question.
Yeah, I mean, my guess is that, I'm not comparing him to Tyler Hansborough, whose draft spot was basically the same every year. He could have gone after his freshman year, been the same, sophomore, junior, senior, so it was all the same. I think McCain, because of his size, is probably some draft choice in the 20s. Whether he goes this year or next year, Again, it does come down to NIL value and all that stuff. What does it mean for Tyrese Proctor?
He, I think, is probably the most interesting stay or go decision of any team in the Triangle, in my eyes at least, because there's no way to say that Tyrese Proctor did not have an underwhelming season.
Right.
I think by his standards, by probably Duke standards, certainly by, I think, outside expectation standards.
Yeah. Our standards. We talked about him before the season. You and I had very high expectations for him. Me higher, probably.
I mean, we at The Athletic placed him on our second team preseason All-American list.
Yeah.
And that did not materialize, in some part because of injuries, which obviously you hate to see, but also because of inconsistency. Yeah. And the three-point shot did eventually come around. I thought that, before Duke's loss to NC State, where he obviously had probably one of his worst games through 2 seasons, I thought he had been playing better. Thought that especially we saw the defense come on. But, for him, I don't know that he would be drafted if he declared to go pro.
Right.
I will say he has a unique situation being from Australia. I have heard that there might be some interest potentially in a homecoming for him. We saw this last offseason where Bobby Klintman from Wake Forest ended up going to go play in the NBL, and it's probably going to be a first-round pick as a result of that. Could that be a similar path for Tyrese Proctor? Potentially. But if he comes back, it's going to be an interesting situation. He, to me, is the guy who is kind of the ripple effect. What he does is going to impact what somebody like a Caleb Foster does. We'll have a role on what Jeremy Roach does. We'll have a role on, potentially could any of these incoming Duke freshmen decide to reopen and evaluate new options. Proctor, to me, is the most fascinating one because I think it could go realistically one of a number of different ways. He's the guy I have the least certainty in expecting what he's going to end up doing.
Here's the one thing, and we'll close on this. There's so many other things I would have loved to have talked to you about, but there's so much news just in those 2 schools, and haven't even gotten to state. We'll have to save that for another visit. The thing about what Proctor provides, just like Jeremy Roach would, not quite as much, of course, some experience, and I think we're learning that if you don't have experience, it's hard to have success in the NCAA tournament. So at what point does Duke decide to emphasize experience over whatever the potential may be?
Well, I think John Shire's already been doing that. Like when he came in, the first thing he said was he was going to value continuity. And I remember it made such headlines. We did a story about it in January of his first season. And he said, listen, we're still going to chase elite talent, but I am prioritizing continuity because I understand that is what wins now. You know how many 5-star players there were in the Final Four this year? There was one. One 5-star. And he was essentially the 4th or 5th option for UConn. Didn't necessarily need to play like a conventional 5-star because he was so insulated with the other talent they had. I'm not saying it is impossible to win with a primarily young roster. Like, Virginia won a couple of years ago with some juniors. But you have to have that depth. And so, again, we're talking about it. Jeremy Roach, to me, he's the guy who is the perfect fit for Duke next year. He provides experience. He provides level-headedness. He provides some level of on-ball defense. He provides shooting. And he's a guy who has been there and has done that. At this point, if you do, John Calipari is going to go to Arkansas and he's going to, try and do whatever he's going to do down there. Going to try and bring 7 more freshmen and just, run back these first-round tournament lost teams. Go for it, man. Dan Hurley's not losing sleep about that.
Right.
Matt Painter's not losing sleep about that. And I think John Shire understands that. And Mark Mitchell was a great example. That was a guy who he wanted to keep around for multiple years, got 2 years out of him when he recruited him out of high school. That's a success. But you have to have those guys and you have to have them insulated around those superstar freshmen. Like Cooper Flagg and Malwalk on their own make Duke a Sweet 16 team at minimum. They're going to probably be the preseason number 1.
Yeah.
But when it gets into the grit, when it gets into the grind of March, you are going to need some of the guys who have been there before. And that's why, like you said, Jeremy Roach to me is the guy who's probably the most important priority in terms of providing shooting, and just providing clarity down the roster.
They need more guys like Brendan Marks from The Athletic at Brendan R. Marks on Twitter. Thank you, my man. Get some more rest, and we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. I'm going to go right back to sleep now.
We woke him up for this. Just getting ready for the Masters. Thank you, man. All right, when we come back, speaking of Masters, Gary Williams, 5 Clubs Golf, will join us from Augusta next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
The NC State magical run to the Final Four is over, but we can use all the cliches. Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. All good things must come to an end. When in actuality, it's about the future. How does NC State make sure it's not that one time they had that good run, and instead it's something they build off of? That's the challenge for Kevin Keatts.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Tonight, our Canes are going up against a tough team that proved to be a bit of a struggle, but now after watching their first matchup, you might have a better idea of what to anticipate. Hey, it's Victoria Vodnecker here for BetMGM, and these are perfect times to make those predictions and go with those hunches that you had before. If you haven't signed up already, you can get $150 in bonus bets just by making your first $5 wager and using code VICTORIA150. Now, whether you win or lose that bet, that's okay because you still get that $150 in bonus bets. Plus, when using the BetMGM app, you'll have options like same-game parlays, live bets, prop bets, and they even offer fun daily promotions. So for $5, you get $150 in bonus bets to experiment with using code VICTORIA150. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. North Carolina only. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
What are you doing? I'm training for the new Ultimate Dash Scratch-Offs. I could get a chance to dash through a warehouse full of prizes.
That explains the shopping cart.
Plus, I could win up to $2 million in cash.
And that explains the tuxedo.
I'm chafing.
Feel the rush with new Ultimate Dash Scratch-Offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 3.78. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling. We do the job right every time.
Protect your heating and cooling system like my offensive line protects me. I'm Drake May, quarterback at UNC. Mitchell Heating and Cooling has been committed to your comfort for 50 years and counting. Call Mitchell Heating and Cooling today.
Contact us now at mitchellhvac.com or 919-556-5069. Train. It's hard to stop a train.
The best solutions every time.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code GEAR for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code GEAR for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code GEAR.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
This is Adam Gold.
There are two groups of people who do not really know how college sports works. One are fans. It's not your job. And the other, people who get paid to represent citizens of the United States on Capitol Hill.
The Adam Gold Show.
During the moment, it's about going to play golf and go do what I do, but hell, there's 19 other people in front of me. I do know that.
Adam Gold Show here. I am Adam Gold. Graham Hill producing the program. It's par 3 day at the Masters. So we might have a little trouble hooking up with Gary Williams out watching everybody play with their kids. Although the par 3 tournament should start pretty soon. Anyway, we'll connect with Gary Williams here in a second. 5 Clubs Golf, formerly of Golf Channel, super dude. That was Brooks Koepka. Because I am a golf geek, Graham, you know this. People who listen to this show know this. Because I am a golf geek, I watched like 2 hours of Masters press conferences yesterday, player press conference. I didn't watch all of them. I didn't watch Jordan Spieth, who's at a press conference. I didn't watch Scotty Scheffler, who's at a press conference. I watched Brooks Koepka in his entirety. I watched Jon Rahm, Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, all in their entirety. I started with Brooks because, to me, Brooks made me laugh out loud. Brooks is the guy who is too cool for school, and there's that element of it that I love, right? He does not care about any golf tournament that is not a major championship. Doesn't care, says it blatantly, like, whatever. I don't even practice for these. He doesn't. He does not practice for a garden variety PGA Tour event when he played, right? He don't. I guarantee you he doesn't practice for his events on the LIV Tour. He doesn't. He uses those tournaments as practice for the majors. He has convinced himself that winning majors is easier than winning regular events. So far, he's right for him. He's wrong for everybody else, but he's right for him. And to that point, he might be right. Because he's eliminated so much of the field in every major he plays. And there's already a smaller field at Augusta. So when Brooks was asked about, regular events, majors, he sometimes pretends to not know and then lets you know that he knows. He's talking about he's won 5 majors. Puts him on a very short list of active players. I mean, he's got more majors than anybody who is an active player other than Phil Mickelson, who's got 3 Masters, 2 PGAs, and an Open Championship. So he's got, actually, he might have 3 PGAs. I think it's 2, whatever. So he's got at least 6. My fault for not knowing that off the top of my head. I had to go. I know he doesn't have a U.S. Open because he screwed one up. Screwed more than one up, but he really screwed one up. So Koepka it's like, I know I've got 19 guys ahead of me. So there are, on the all-time list, he says, there are 19 major champions ahead of him. Now, he's going to start, if he wins a couple of more majors, he's going to pick off a bunch. A bunch. Faldo, I think Seve's at 5. I think he's tied with Seve. Faldo's got 6, 3 Open Championships, 3 Masters. Watson has got like 8. Palmer's got basically that same number. Like, he's a long way from Tiger. Jack, who's ahead of Tiger. He's a long way from those guys, the Hogans of the world. But he's going to start picking off some enormous names if he wins a couple of more majors. And he probably should have won last year at the Masters. So, and he's the reigning PGA champion, and we're a month away from the tournament in Louisville at Valhalla, which is, incidentally, the last place Rory McIlroy won a major championship in 2014, beating the likes of Mickelson and Ricky Fowler with a dynamite final round. But so Brooks is just totally too cool for school, and I love it. I love the only part about Brooks Koepka's behavior I don't like is that he can be demeaning to fellow competitors publicly. Like, he talks junk to them through the media.
Competitive spirit.
Yeah.
Underlying competitive spirit.
But you could take it too far. It comes off as personal, where you don't see that. It's not necessarily what you see on the PGA Tour. I don't think he means that intentionally at times, but I think it's a lot of times said with a purpose. And that can be, he's trying to get an edge, is what he's trying to do. Contrast Brooks Koepka with Jon Rahm, who was the only player that I heard yesterday, and I didn't listen to everything, who was asked, and a lot, about his decision to go to Live. One of the things about Augusta is that they like the focus to be on Augusta. And everybody in the press room knows it. Everybody knows it. And I was surprised at how many questions were asked about his decision to go to Live Golf. And there were some that were really pointed about Live and about why. But there was one, I think, that really spoke to the heart of, I think, why John Rahm thought he could do it, or I'm going to editorialize here, get away with it. And that's because he thought he would be the tipping point for a reconciliation.
I understood my position, yes. And I understood that it could be what I hoped, a step towards some kind of agreement, yes. Or more of an agreement or expedited agreement. But unfortunately, it's not up to me. So, but I would hope it would be something that would help expedite that process. But at the end of the day, I still did what I thought was best for myself.
All right. I'm not going to get caught up in the less than a year ago, he hated the format. He hated everything about it. Didn't need the money. It was about legacy. I'm not going to get caught up in that, right? When they throw $350 million at you, and I've said this 1,000 other times, if the Public Investment Fund was really into sports radio, I mean, I think everybody's morals has a price. I do. I believe it. I believe it, right? I would like to think that if I had, I don't know, if I was worth $100 million, which I'm just kind of ballparking that John Rahm was probably worth before the decision, I would like to think that I wouldn't be swayed by $350 million. I would like to think that. But I can't guarantee it. But I'm not worth $100 million, so I could probably be bought for less than $350 million. I ain't lying. If 275, I'd probably have a decision to make, Graham.
Give me 250.
250. Sold. So I'm not going to get into that. But here's what John Rahm is another cautionary tale that all of the promises that were made to the players who left, 0 have been kept. Now, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about what would happen next. 0 have come true. World rankings points, not. The PGA Tour can't stop you from going back to play, not. They cannot take away your status for the European Tour or the PGA Tour as it relates to eligibility for the Ryder Cup, not. Brooks Koepka played on the U.S. Ryder Cup team because he won the PGA Championship. He was the PGA champion and qualified through that. So he was already, he'd earned enough points to do that, right? Now, they could have selected, because he had points. He actually, I think he fell outside. So, but Dustin Johnson, actually, those guys could have been selected. DJ could have been selected. Bryson DeChambeau could have been selected. Patrick Reed, my mistake there. They could have been selected. They couldn't play on the European Tour, on the European side, because you have to be members of the European Tour in order to play on the Ryder Cup team. And all of those players rescinded their European Tour membership as a protest. And it was not available to get it back right away. Anyway, but Rahm is one of those guys who thought that he could force the reconciliation. And what we're finding out, and what he is finding out, is that while he is a great player, he is not enough of a draw to get the PGA Tour to settle for what they believe will be not a great deal with the public investment firm. There is a much deeper conversation that I probably don't have time to get into, because I think the PGA Tour is taking a very big risk because they can't compete with the finances. I don't care, even if the Saudis invest $3 billion in the PGA Tour, that's still about $717 fewer billion dollars than they have to spend on LIV. Keep that in mind. They have $720 billion in the public investment fund. There is no competing with that financially. The PGA Tour is stretching themselves way beyond where they can go already. If the Saudis don't like the deal, they're going to blow the PGA Tour out of the water. If they want. Keep that in mind. Two other very quick things. One, Tiger Woods. I want you to play this. Tiger Woods was asked, what do you think you can do this week at the Masters?
What do you feel like you're capable of doing this week? What do you believe that you can do this week?
If everything comes together, I think I can get one more. Want me to describe that any more than that, or we're good?
Bless his heart, man. Bless his heart.
Yeah, I mean, I admire him for believing.
Now, he that was vague enough. He could be meaning one more cut made. If he makes the cut, it's 24 in a row. That's a record, okay? But he wants you to believe, and maybe he does believe, that he's talking about a 6th green jacket. I mean, he is, in my opinion, the greatest player to ever live. But this version of Tiger Woods is so far removed even from the 2019 version of Tiger Woods, I don't know how he gets around 72 holes and keeps it together playing so little competitive golf as he has played in the last 2 years. He's played one event. No, he hadn't even played an event this year. He played 2 events last year and didn't finish either of them. Right? No, did he play? He played Riviera this year.
Yes.
And he withdrew with a cold.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, influenza. That was actually on the release. He had the influenza. Who says that? Who says influenza? I love Tiger Woods, but that was worth pointing out. So if he can convince himself that he has a chance to win, great. Whatever. I hope to see it.
For reference, Tiger Woods plus 15,000 to win outright the Masters.
Yeah, and somebody's putting one of their bonus bets on it. You should.
Yeah.
Just put a bonus bet on it.
Might as well if you're trying to get rid of it.
Right, on the off chance that he wins, minus 15,000 to win. I think he's going to play the par 3 tournament again. Whatever. It's fine. And then lastly, very quickly, Rory McIlroy had the shortest press conference by at least half. Nobody went shorter than 20 minutes. Rahm went over 30. Of course, he did part of it in Spanish. Victor Hovland went 20-something. Tiger went 25 minutes. Rory went 10 minutes on purpose. He doesn't want to talk about why he hasn't won. He doesn't. And he also would rather not talk about LIV anymore because he's exhausted from that whole conversation. The last 2 years took a ton out of Rory McIlroy because of that. A ton of mental energy to essentially put the PGA Tour on his shoulders and carry it for 2 years. A ton of mental energy. He's exhausted from it. But he purposely did not do a long interview. 10 minutes, again, less than half of anybody else. Wyndham Clark spoke longer than Rory McIlroy. Wyndham Clark in a pretty snazzy floral shirt, I might add. All right, quick break. We'll come back. One-timers are next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Trust ACT Construction Equipment and Bandit Wood Chippers and Stump Grinders to position your tree service for success. ACT Construction Equipment is your authorized dealer for sales, service, parts, and rentals for Bandit Wood Chippers and Stump Grinders. ACT Construction Equipment has been your authorized dealer for Bandit equipment for over 10 years. Visit one of our 6 North and South Carolina locations or actce.com for more details on Bandit Wood Chippers and Stump Grinders. ACT Construction Equipment, always the right equipment for the job.
It's playoff time in the NBA and the NHL. Baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Adam Gold here. And right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you make your first $5 wager. Because you know me. FanDuel.com, promo code AGS to sign up. FanDuel.com, promo code AGS to sign up. Then you can bet on anything. Slap shots, home runs, slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. $200 in bonus bets await when you place your first $5 wager. Visit FanDuel.com, promo code AGS to get started. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Must be 21 and older and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Everyone goes through tough times, and everyone can get through them, as long as they don't have to do it alone. Dial 988 if you need someone to talk to. Get what you need to get to a better place. Together, we'll find the care that works best for you. We're here 24/7. Call, text, or chat 988. 988. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
Fair housing is more than just a celebration in April. For North Carolina's realtors, it's an everyday standard. For the 56,000 realtors across our state, we embrace and support fair housing to stamp out discrimination in all forms. As realtors, we believe fairness is worth fighting for, and we won't stop until the fight is won. Celebrating Fair Housing Month, North Carolina Realtors. We open doors to everyone. Paid for by North Carolina Realtors.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
St. Louis brought the world gooey butter cake. Now Bluebell brings us gooey butter cake ice cream, a cake batter ice cream with a luscious cream cheese swirl and gooey butter cake pieces. It's the gateway to the best in pints and half gallons.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
Are you looking for a 2-year hands-on agricultural degree while still gaining the university experience? I'm Lee Ivey, Director of the Agricultural Institute at NC State University. We offer 6 associate's degrees that span the agricultural industry and set our students up to meet their goals. Come live on campus, learn on our farms, and be a part of the NC State community. Learn more about our program online by searching NC State Ag Institute. Deadline for fall enrollment is June 1st. 2 years, 1 degree, endless possibilities.
This is Adam Gold.
Listen, the ACC is not as bad as everyone out there, Joe Lenardi and all the proctologists.
Wow. Whoa.
It's
Wait a second. Victoria, did you hear that? It's a proctologist.
The Adam Gold Show.
See Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. We found Gary Williams going to join us at 1 o'clock. Oh, man. And he's going to, the conversation I just had, he's going to have. I'll just prompt him. Boom, 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 boom. So you'll hear from Gary Williams, 5 Clubs Golf, Dynamite Dude. All right, let's get right to it. Definitive questions and answers. Graham, it's one-timers time.
All right, Adam, I have some slap shots for you.
Ooh.
Let me just wait for the music bed to come in. There it is. All right. University of North Carolina is seeking a study of up to 5 potential sites for a new basketball arena in Chapel Hill. As you know, UNC men's basketball team has called the Dean Smith Center home for nearly 40 years. Yep. Adam, how much longer will it be before North Carolina moves on from the Dean Smith Center and moves to a new arena in Chapel Hill?
How long will it take to build it? I think the best case scenario would be to build it where it is, right? Leave it in campus, right? But the building was outdated almost as soon as it opened. I mean, how do you have the Dean Smith Center and no suites? How does that happen? I mean, I think they've converted some areas to suites, but boy, it was like it's like FedEx Field.
The suites are the courtside seats, pretty much, if you're a Rams Club donor.
Yeah, I mean, but what did they do? They built suites for football. We have football suites, right? They built that end zone section.
The blue zone,
The blue zone, which kind of doubles as suites too, right? Different level, but yeah, you got to have that. So they're going to build a new one. I don't think they can upgrade the Smith Center to the point where they create that premium dollar seating, but as soon as they can build one.
With the Carolina Hurricanes' 4-1 win last night over the Boston Bruins, and now 3 games remaining in the regular season, is this the most confident Hurricanes roster you've ever seen head into the postseason?
Yes. Well, I mean, look, the 06 team was different. The 06 team was so veteran-laden. Now, this team has a lot of veterans, but, once you got past Eric Stahl, you had plenty of veterans. You had Recchi, Waite, Williams had been around, right? I mean, they had plenty of time. We got another minute, Graham. Throw another one. We got another minute.
Wow. I'm off the clock.
Let's go. Let's go. We got more.
I'm delusional, as you can tell.
But the answer was yes.
Fair enough. Fight off a sickness, forgive me. All right.
Sure.
So, with the transfer portal being open now for college basketball, I want to know from the NC State Wolfpack, since you said you didn't get time to mention it with Brendan Marks, who do you believe could be staying on the Wolfpack's roster for next season? Who do you believe could be leaving?
The guys that we know are leaving, right? Horn, Burns. I think Morcell can come back for another year, right?
Yes.
Right? I don't see why any of those guys would leave because the playing time is there for them, right? I know Dennis Parker should be more of a factor next year. The playing time is there for them, so that's why guys leave. I mean, do you make it? Does somebody try to buy them away? So I think those guys should. I think those guys should stay. You got the big man coming in from Louisville, but they have to add more. They have to add freshmen to the mix. You can't just do the portal. It's too hard to do that every year. All right, Gary Williams from Augusta. I've got azaleas. We'll see if he does. Next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Are you ready to make this a springtime to remember? Because it is that time of the year again. Diamonds Direct's annual spring sale event where you can get 20% off virtually everything in their showroom, which is already lower price than you're going to find anywhere else. I can't even make sense of this in my own brain. So here's my suggestion. Whether you're in the midst of wedding planning and shopping for bands or picking out your next fashion jewelry must-have from Diamonds Direct, you can save an extra 20% this weekend. Now through April 21st, all bridal and fashion favorites at Diamonds Direct are on sale. This is a big deal, people. You need to go through April 21st. Don't miss these incredible offers right now. Shop, make an appointment online, in-store, diamondsdirect.com. That's great. Tons of stuff. There's more at the showroom. You got to go see it anyway. On Glenwood Avenue, in front of Crabtree Valley Mall in Raleigh, an incredible 20% off right now at Diamonds Direct Crabtree.
Making dinner, trimming your hair, mowing the lawn. Sure, you can do it all yourself, but why? At Autobell Car Wash, our team cleans your whole car from the inside out in 15 minutes or less. We do the work so you don't have to.
People can tell when you Autobell.
April is here. And if your windows won't open for fresh air or seal tight to keep out pollen and bugs, then talk to Window Nation right now. For every 2 windows you buy, you'll get 2 free. There's no limit to how much you could save. Plus, you could save even more with no interest or payments for 24 months. With proven quality, you'll get affordable windows that meet or beat the national brands. Don't miss out. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com to schedule your free in-home estimate.
A torn ACL, stress fracture, aching back, a hip that's had it, life on hold, and all you want is to get it back. Enter Wake Orthopedics. Our fellowship-trained orthopedists do it all. General, sports, pediatric, joint replacement, fractures, spine, prevention, advanced diagnostics, progressive treatments, minimally invasive procedures, surgeries, and more. Visit wakemed.org/wakeortho and get back your life.
Were you forced to get a nosebleed mortgage rate in the past year? Loan Pronto is here to rescue you. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Listen, if your mortgage rate is over 7, you're going to be in heaven with Loan Pronto's zero-cost refi. You can cut your house payment by hundreds of dollars with zero closing costs. Rates have come down, so you can say goodbye to that bad loan you got stuck with. Loan Pronto's now got APRs with fixed rates in the 5s. One couple just did this and saved over $550 a month with no appraisal and closed in 10 days. So, don't live with that stupid rate a day longer. You can lock in at a lower rate now with no cost and very little paperwork. Loan Pronto, your easy button for lower rates and no closing cost loans. Call now and see how much lower you can get your house payment. Refi now and you can even skip your next 2 house payments altogether. 919-381-1760. 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. 919-381-1760. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Equal housing lender.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code MONTHFREE by May 31st. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
This hour on the Triangle Sports Leader is brought to you by the Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
Shoots, he scores!
Go to GotBryan.com. That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Gensel will get it in deep. Jarvis takes a peek. Orloff settles. Shot right on. Gensel with a second try. Swayman gets in. They score! It gets through Swayman, and this one is a huge marker for Carolina. As Jake Gensel pounded it home. It's 3-1 Hurricanes.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Big win for the Hurricanes last night. I think the best win they've had all season, considering the opponent, considering the style with which they put it on the Boston Bruins. Very exciting time for Hurricanes fans here in Raleigh. And it is a very exciting time because it is Masters Week. And in honor of Masters Week, I have 3 azaleas sitting on the desk here in front of me, only one of which has even begun to bloom because I think the folks at Augusta National didn't want them to bloom yet because that's what they can do. They can control whether or not the flowers bloom. They have that power. Gary Williams, 5 Clubs Golf, joins us from Augusta. Sir, how you doing?
Adam, my friend, I'm doing very well. I hope you are.
We are doing very well. It's a big week. A lot going on. Hurricanes coming down to the end of the regular season. 3 more games left. And there's a little golf tournament going on in Augusta. And 5 Clubs Golf, you're doing a diary. And it was interesting because I wanted to talk about certain things, and I just clicked on your diary in not this past commercial break, the previous one. I'm like, everything I just talked about is right there. It's so good. So maybe maybe we're on the same wavelength. I want to start with Brooks Koepka because he was the one who made me laugh out loud. I loved his press conference yesterday because, and I think the term you used, which I stole, was too cool for school or something like that. And he almost wants to make you think that he's indifferent to it all, but he knows. He keeps receipts. He knows who's ahead of him on the majors list. He knows how many he's got. He knows how many he's tied with. He doesn't care about regular tour events. He never has. That does give him an edge, doesn't it?
I think it absolutely does, Adam. I think that I was having this conversation with several people yesterday that it's reasonable to suggest that he is going to win 7 majors, okay? Maybe 8. I don't know. He still has, with good health, You would like to believe he has the requisite skills to be highly competitive in majors for, let's say 5 more years. Okay. So if he picks off 2 or 3 between now and the end of the line, I mean, we're talking about a Tom Watson-like major championship career if he gets to 8. Now, if he gets to 8 majors and the balance of the ledger is less regular tour wins, it's one of the true outlier resumes historically that we've ever seen. No matter however, 5 majors, 6 majors, 7, whatever that number was, it was balanced with 30, 40, 50 additional professional wins. His indifference to that, I think, now turns him on. Like, I think he doesn't. I don't think he tries to sabotage himself the rest of the year. But I think that I think he loves the fact that he has become like the major hitman. Like, he is the designated hitman to come to these events and cast the longest shadow. And I think it makes him exceedingly interesting.
Oh, I agree. And I think, well, he's on record as saying he doesn't practice. He never practiced for regular tour events. He used regular tour events as practice for majors, which is absolutely hysterical. And I don't know, I've kind of grown to like him more than I did, because I think there have been times where he's been kind of openly disdainful, like of Dustin Johnson, who was probably closer to Koepka then than he is now. He has gone at Rory McIlroy. He hasn't won one since I've joined the tour, which, I'm sorry, #facts only, and I'm Team Rory, which we'll get to in a second. But he is. I think he is. He doesn't care about the other events. He's only geared up, and he's probably right that if you have that mindset, they might be easier to win because the field of competitors, true competitors, is smaller.
Yeah, absolutely. He famously, and I was in the room when he did this, he broke down and deconstructed basically his own major championship algorithm. Who can win? And he took the PGA Championship, of which he was paired with Tiger in 2019 at Bethpage, knew he was playing with him the first 2 rounds. Tiger just won the Masters, and in New York lays down the marker that I only have to beat 12 guys. and I'm going, wow, this is Namath-like. And he goes out and shoots 63 in the opening round, and it got a little hairy there late on Sunday for like 45 minutes. No, I'm with you. There was kind of like this bro-ish kind of persona to him but I'm beyond that now. I find him mildly amusing, but again, very interesting.
Totally. All right. Speaking of interesting, I think Jon Rahm is one of the more thoughtful players we've got on tour. In terms of being thoughtful, I put him in the same category as a Rory McIlroy in that regard. I do believe Rahm is speaking the truth in his mind that he thought that his decision to go to the LIV Tour would be the impetus for a deal brokered between the two entities. It turns out, it looks like he's going to be wrong, just like everybody else who was swayed by the public investment fund money, and Greg Norman was wrong by all of those promises other than the money. What do you make of where John is in terms of his mental headspace?
I think he's in a peculiar place. I think he is, I'm not going to use the term buyer's remorse, but I think that he is missing things. He's missing elements that the others, whatever their age was, whether it was the elder group of the Stensons and Westwoods and Poulters who were beyond their hyper-competitive years, to, the younger guys like DeChambeau or Joaquin Niemann. John was the best player in terms of Koepka he was compromised physically. So it was a different situation. John is, height of who he is, and I'm not suggesting he's plateaued. He is as good as anybody, not necessarily as good in the moment as Scheffler is right now. And I think that he's struggling with something that he perceived to be less than what he expected his career to be, which was, this edgy elite championship golf, which is not what LIV is, which he pointed out when he was still a member of the PGA Tour. I think those misgivings still exist. I think he misses his peer group and the environment, which is very different over there. And that's why I hedge on him this week. A little bit, not entirely, but a little bit.
He's already asked for 72-hole events. He said he never liked the format before, but now he's sort of embracing team golf. Of course, the first couple of events when they interviewed him after, he had to suddenly, at the end of the interview, kind of, that's right, we're a team. He was more upset that he didn't win individually. Yeah, maybe he has. Maybe it's like scotch. It just takes a while to figure it out. But I wish Rahm. I do believe that he was true to himself and that he thought he would be the impetus for the decision, and what we're finding out is that it's going to take a lot longer, and it's still, I don't think, better than 50-50 that it ever really comes off. I have a much deeper conversation. I don't want to take up too much time. I have a much deeper conversation about the massive risk the PGA Tour is making by extending themselves so far, and if they don't broker a deal with the PIF, they could just buy whoever they want eventually, and the PGA Tour will really suffer without some of the next wave of young star that could be bought. Like if Joaquin Neiman's going to LIV, and he had a huge future on the PGA Tour, those types of things are problems. If Hideki Matsuyama or Tom Kim left, Tom Kim struggled, it would be a huge problem. Do you believe that Tiger really believes, Gary Williams, that he can win this Masters?
No, I think he has less. I think he has. I think his belief system is more challenged currently than it's ever been, and it's a combination of the things that we associate with anybody who advances in life. That time is undefeated, and that time is a cold thug and is abrupt and is absolute when time decides it's over. And I think that he is not at that place, but he's closer to that place than he's ever been. And sitting in that room yesterday, there was an absence of energy and an absence of total conviction that I've never associated with him. So I think that him making the cut, and I think him making the cut in any of these events is a significant achievement. And I'm not trying to diminish, like saying, well, this is what he's been reduced to. That I don't think people understand the severity of that accident that he went through. So, I think if he makes the cut, which would then eclipse Couples and Player, one of the most consecutive cuts made in Masters history, he deserves to own that record. And I think that would be a hell of an achievement.
My gosh. It's funny. I'm on the FanDuel website, and I can't find a wager to make the cut or to not make the cut. But he's plus 15,000 to win. He's plus 40,000 to win by at least 4, which I'm sorry, I'm laughing. Like, who would you back at plus 15,000, Tiger or Denny McCarthy?
Oh, gosh, Denny McCarthy in a walk.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, yeah. I see what you did there in a walk. If you put Tiger in a cart, could Tiger win the Masters?
No, but it would probably be, a fun, exciting weekend because he would be maybe hanging on the periphery. Yeah. Again, the walking is the real thing.
Yes.
The competitive rust, the things that he made look so efficient, holding rounds together by making 6 and 7 footers because he hit what looked like a mundane chip, which was not mundane at all around these greens. Those things I just don't think over the course of 72 holes are achievable for him to do.
I agree. He hasn't completed a full round of golf other than at Hero, or a full tournament other than Hero, in more than a year and a half.
That's
right?
correct.
He didn't finish the Masters. He got plantar fasciitis. He didn't finish the PGA. He withdrew because he had influenza, which I'm sorry, this is kind of interesting way of wording it. Most of us just
Isn't that
say
what guys
the
got
flu.
in the 1934 Masters?
Yes, it was an epidemic. Whatever. We'll close with this. Gary Williams. I'm smiling ear to ear, and I wish you could see my azaleas, which is not something that one normally says to another guy. Rory McIlroy. I was looking. I didn't. You pointed it out on your diary, and I encourage people go to 5 Clubs Golf, read the diary, because I was looking at the times. I was listening to as many press conferences as I could yesterday, and when Rory was done, I went, "That's it? Like 10 minutes? What do you make of that?"
Here's what I make of it. I think that this exercise, particularly here, I don't think that will be the case at Valhalla, where the PGA is next month, or Pinehurst number 2 in a couple of months. I think that he is trying. I think the exercise is counterproductive. Too much of the narrative that he is being asked about is about something that is the Rubicon that he's trying to cross, and I totally get it. So trying to limit the conversation and having to get his mind to a place about trying to do something that theoretically has never really been done. With all due respect to Saracen, it was retroactive. Nobody knew what he won in 1935.
Right.
This is a very different situation. I think, him coming in literally last and getting here, in advance and playing a couple of rounds, which can that all the time be the most useful time, because the golf course is usually, kind of shaggy and soft, and I mean that relatively speaking.
Right.
But I think that he's trying to do things at least marginally different than he's ever done it before, because whatever way he's done it before has not produced a win. So I have no problem with it. I don't feel slighted. I don't think anybody else in the press building feels slighted that he got in early and slipped out late and limited the amount of time that he was required to answer these questions. Look, he's giving of his time. He's particularly thoughtful about everything that he's asked of. So he's trying to switch it up. And I will say this. I did ask him the question about Butch Harmon.
Right.
And he shared something which I think is worthwhile, and that this was not like, I'm going to fly to Vegas, spend a little time, and then, hey, I'll talk to you when I talk to you. They're communicating every day.
Yeah.
I think that the positive reinforcement psychologically that Butch Harmon can give to you as golf's Yoda, I think can be very useful for Rory this week.
Yeah, and Butch Harmon kind of brought Ricky Fowler back from the brink,
absolutely.
too. So there's a lot of positives there. I think 2 things real quick about Rory. One, I think he is emotionally exhausted from carrying the PGA Tour for the last couple of years. And I think it probably took less of a toll on him in the moment than it does even now. And I also think that if Rory wins another major, had he won the Open Championship a couple of years ago, which he should have won, he had, as great a final round as Cam Smith shot, Rory should have won that major.
We agree.
Should have won the U.S. Open. Again, as great a round as Wyndham Clark, great a tournament as Wyndham Clark had, Rory didn't put enough pressure on him, and he should have. If he wins any other major, I think he can reel off another 4 or 5. I don't think this is the next one he's going to win. I think it'll be something else, and it'll likely be a come from behind.
Yeah, that's fair. The 4 or 5 would be a tremendous major championship haul in the back end of your career. I'll leave you with this. He's in a historically unfamiliar place. Nobody who has gone from 4 majors to 5 has taken this long to do it. On average, every single player who has 5 or more, on average, it took them 2.5 years. And the only outlier is Peter Thompson at 7 years, and the only reason it was at 7, he never came to the United States. He only played in the Open. He played in 2 majors other than the Open Championship. This is very, very uncharted territory for him, let alone anybody. But I think your position on get one somewhere else and this will be more achievable, totally reasonable position. I still think that this is a very personal experience for him. He will be a regular member of this club. I believe it down to my socks But he's not going to be if he doesn't win here, because he's not going to come here and put on a green jacket,
right,
having not won the tournament. He has relationships here that are very deep for him. This is, like I said, this is Rory's Rubicon. And if he wins it somewhere else, anyone, does it make it marginally more achievable? Yes, but not by much. This is a big ask of him.
No question about that. I foresee a back half of his career like when Phil Mickelson finally started winning majors. That's what I see for Rory. I think he's still got tons of games.
Phil was 33. Rory's going to be 35 in a month.
Yeah.
It's biologically, they're essentially the same guy. And Rory, he's dealt with a few injuries, but nothing super significant. He's still as nimble and as fluid in terms of his body as he was, 5 years ago. He's not 21 anymore. But, yeah, no, you're right. In terms of the Phil-Rory thing in the major championship production at a similar time in their life, right on.
He doesn't look as good at a quarter zip as you do, Gary. Gary Williams, 5 Clubs Golf, and at Gary Williams 1UP on Twitter. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll talk to you soon.
Adam, thank you, my friend. Enjoy the 88th Masters, buddy.
You got it. Thank you very much. All right, when we come back, Chip Patterson, we'll talk about college sports tomorrow, which is that thing we talked about at the Final Four, where they dropped this potential new college football playoff thing that will never happen for 1,000 reasons. And we'll get Chipolytics on the Masters because we love Chipolytics. Next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
The NC State magical run to the Final Four is over, but we can use all the cliches. Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. All good things must come to an end. When in actuality, it's about the future. How does NC State make sure it's not that one time they had that good run, and instead it's something they build off of? That's the challenge for Kevin Keats.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Adam Gold from my man, Coach Pete Deruta, Capital Financial Advisory Group in Apex. And I'm going to tell you right now that size matters, and Coach Pete can prove it to you if you go and check out his giant 8-foot whiteboard. Yeah, he's got a whiteboard so you can physically see the financial plan that he has personally designed for you so you can retire on your terms. I don't have an 8-foot whiteboard, and I don't know my elbow from my kneecap about retirement planning, but I know Coach Pete Deruta, and I know he can help. All you got to do is get the Capital Financial Advisory Group in Apex, and you can call right now, 888-843-0013, or text Adam to 600-700, and then you can see for yourself how big Coach Pete's whiteboard is and what he's got written on it. Coach Pete Deruta, financial planner for you for retirement. You need to retire with enough to do whatever it is you want to do. 888-843-0013 or text Adam to 600-700 for Coach Pete Deruta.
What are you doing?
I'm training for the new Ultimate Dash Scratch-Offs. I could get a chance to dash through a warehouse full of prizes.
That explains the shopping cart.
Plus, I could win up to $2 million in cash.
And that explains the tuxedo.
I'm chafing.
Feel the rush with new Ultimate Dash Scratch-Offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 3.78. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Pulling up to Mickey D's just for drinks? Oh yeah, that's me. Nothing extra, just perfection and a straw. Coming in hot for the coldest cups on the block. Because there are drinks. Then there are drinks from McDonald's.
Now get an ice cold lemonade, frozen Coca-Cola, or iced coffee. Any size for just $1.79.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Price and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
It's Truck Month at your local Ram dealer, and now's the time to get great deals on our award-winning lineup of trucks. At Ram, all we do is trucks. Maybe that's why Ram is the most awarded light-duty and heavy-duty truck brand over the last 5 years. Ram trucks feature innovative technology and uncompromised power and dependability that give you the power to strengthen your truck game. Go to Ram.com for great deals and hurry in for the best selection of trucks during Ram Truck Month. Based on total full-size pickup awards 2019 to 2023 CYTD, based on standard and available features offered.
O'Reilly Auto Parts carries the best parts for your next repair.
If your car isn't stopping like it used to, Brake Best Select pads and rotors can restore your braking system performance. Shop Brake Best Select products exclusively at O'Reilly. And visit your new Bunn O'Reilly Auto Parts on Main Street next to Hardee's.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Adam Gold.
Is a hot dog a sandwich, Mike?
Is a pizza a sandwich then? It's bread with toppings and stuff.
When you fold it, yeah.
And it's a calzone.
And a calzone's a sandwich too.
Oh goodness.
They're all under the sandwich umbrella. So is that a yes or a no?
That is a debate I will never embrace. Mr.
Oh my
Gold.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Graham Hill on the ones and twos. We have a much better chance of hearing Grateful Dead rejoins. I request live Grateful Dead. Live Dead. Yeah, I understand. But that's fine. It is Masters Week. We're going to talk Chipalytics and the Masters with Chip Patterson, but we have college football first, or college football-related things first, as Chip Patterson joins us on the Adam Gold Show. Chip, you can tell from, because you're on video, you can't see it right now, but I have azaleas next to me because it is Masters Week.
Were those okay? Hold on. Can we get those back again? Let's go back on full screen, Graham. Because are those blooming azaleas? Or
No, only one of them has bloomed.
I was going to say I see a lot of green.
Yeah, there's a lot of green. Because Augusta was not sure that it would be timed right, so they iced them like they control the azaleas down at Augusta National Golf Club.
There's a floral on Wyndham Clark's shirt during the practice round. I don't know if you got to look at that.
Oh, I did. I saw him in the press conference yesterday. It was gorgeous. It was better than Jordan Spieth's shirt.
It was something else. Yeah, listen, we're fired up to hear those tickling piano keys. You know, the greatest thing that might happen to the Cover 3 podcast is for morning thunderstorms on Thursday, because every single year we talk about that Thursday show as the most distracted show of an entire season.
All four of you guys watching the Masters at the same time?
All four of us are sitting here. We're answering mailbag questions, and then all of a sudden, one person who's watching on actual cable goes, Scotty! Then somebody else watching on a stream goes, Scotty! And just we get a cascading responses to the early wave of the Masters. So if there's thunderstorms and the play is delayed, will some be frustrated? Yes. But will the Cover 3 listeners get a more focused podcast? Probably.
All right, Chip Patterson. Let's dig into some things. This happened, I guess it was Thursday when I was out at the Final Four. So we talked Wednesday, and then I saw the story on Thursday. So this is new for us, even though the story dropped last week. The Athletic did a story about, and I know you wrote about it too, college sports tomorrow. So I have a lot of questions about their format, and I'll get into it in a little bit. I'll broad brush it. Roughly 80 schools made up of the entirety of what we think today, at least this past year, was the Power Five, plus Notre Dame and SMU for some reason. Whatever. Not going to debate. Not going to get into it. Plus,
buddy, if they can buy their way into the ACC with 9 years of not taking a check,
I'm with you. I understand.
You've got more dedication than a lot of Power 5 programs.
It's just kind of random that they went as opposed to like San Diego State. I get different, tax bracket, but just random. And then of the group of five, the two teams essentially that played for the conference championship of those five leagues would be in a separate division, but the winner of that division would go to the college football playoff, the college sports tomorrow, college football playoff. Who among college football's real power brokers would be in any way, shape, or form interested in this?
None.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's like two conversations. There's, hey, let's have fun talking about the format, which is message board talk.
Yes.
Which is like barroom banter. And then there's Outlook. And that was why, like, my editor called me the night it dropped. I think it was a Wednesday night. He said, hey, man, like, we don't think this is serious, but we need to acknowledge it.
Right.
Can you write on this and respectfully tell people why it's not serious and why,
Right.
we need to be able to recognize that. For example, number one deputy, like one of the high executives in the NFL office, is a part of this 20-person working group. That it is the university presidents or chancellors at West Virginia and Syracuse. That you've got a former executive from Major League Soccer, and what it is, and I know that, like, you're familiar, you speak politics, but it's a think tank.
Yeah.
This was a report that was put together by a think tank. Then they circulated it among administrators. And I was so amused that the reporting from The Athletic made it so clear that Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti were not a part of this.
Right.
And had not sat down with them to meet.
Nor had Brett Yormark.
Listen, if we're talking about the future of high-level college athletics, if it don't have Sankey and if it don't have Petitti, then it doesn't have any real firepower right now.
Why did Jim Phillips, the ACC commissioner, why did he meet with them, and how does that damage his public persona among other college commissioners?
I can't speak for other administrators, but I saw this as a no bad ideas proposal. And you know who needs to listen to no bad ideas? Jim Phillips.
I agree. Okay.
And look, and they did say they had a sit down in February. There has not been any follow up.
Okay.
Right?
So, I sent you some of the stuff I wanted to hit on. When I read it, and I laughed. What good is promotion relegation if 87.5% of the teams involved are not in danger of being relegated? The only schools that could be relegated are the 5 who were or the 10 who were promoted. What on earth are we doing?
I think you're just pandering. The idea of promotion and relegation has been mentioned in conference realignment for 10 years. It is a fan idea. It is not an administrator idea. Of
course not.
I felt like that. I felt like that was included just to pander to get anybody on board, maybe to get university president. The thing that stood out to me was offering true stake and ownership in the system to the universities. I said, that's how you get some of these university presidents involved, because we know university presidents will squeeze every last penny out of college sports that's possible.
What they're doing.
As they are facing the enrollment cliff of 2026 and a financial crisis across all of higher education. So maybe with this idea of an ownership stake in the system rather than being a member of the system, that's how they were going to do it. But you just can't step up and be like, all right, we are going to replace the college football playoff. We are going to replace the NCAA, and then just kind of yada things away. And don't worry, because we'll handle NIL and transfer portal and collective bargaining. I said, oh, okay. And how? With what plans?
Right.
And they could be in the plans that weren't reported on. The timeline is interesting to me because, like, what happens so often, in my experience in college sports, but probably also elsewhere in big business, is that we don't hear the details of the plan until the plan has failed. That they circulated. Seriously,
you're right.
They circulated this, and then you know what all these university presidents and conference commissioners did? Signed a 6-year extension to the college football playoff. So after they signed the 6-year extension to the college football playoff, congratulations, CST. Earliest you're getting in the door is 2031. I think that we heard about it because they tried to convince everybody who mattered. Everybody who mattered said no and moved on with their original plan, and now we get to hear the details of the failed plan.
All right, I'm gonna just make a quick comment about this, and then we're gonna go on real quick to Clemson and Florida State versus the ACC, and then I want Chipolitics. So we're gonna be quick in both of these. I'm amazed. This is just a statement. I am amazed that otherwise intelligent people thought that any of the power brokers gave a damn about being fair. It is amazing to me that smart people got in a room and thought, yeah, let's do something that's fair for all, although the money was tipped higher in towards the power brokers anyway, but still, they have no interest in being fair. They have proven that over time. All right, so now to the jurisdiction matter between Florida State and the ACC, Clemson and the ACC. I know I'm crazy. You and I may have talked about it. We're not talking about politics here. We're talking about finances. And contracts. I think you could settle this case in Mike Norvell's office with 2 attorneys. To me, there's no real case for Florida State or Clemson. I don't care where the court case is heard. I just don't think and if you get a bad ruling, we're just going to appeal it up, and you'll eventually get the right ruling, which is you signed the deal willingly. You took the money. Am I crazy?
I don't know. I'm distrustful of everyone involved.
That's fair.
Our dumb sports brains, 1 week. ACC wins in court. Yeah. Throw it on the scoreboard. The next week, war chant. Florida State, legal, win. Winners and losers. It's not that cut and dry.
Right.
This is the legal system. The outcome is going to have both sides mad.
Oh, sure. I still think the ACC is doomed.
Fair outcomes of these kinds of things drag on forever and end with no one happy. So the only takeaway that number one, Clemson's behind schedule. Clemson is, Florida State actually got on it and got this process rolling,
right,
to the point where they are probably closer to a resolution. Clemson's best chance of being able to have any kind of resolution is something that's much larger and broader and seismic happening within the Atlantic Coast Conference. The fact that there was the judge who, was mentioning mediation, I feel like judges in North Carolina and Florida are going to start being like this, guys, I have serious things to do today.
Right.
Can you guys just go figure this out?
That's a loss for the ACC.
You're being a baby.
That's
okay?
The loss.
And you over here, this is getting ridiculous. I'm distrustful of every bit of reporting from this. I am distrustful of all of the judges and the attorneys. I'm ready to get to an end.
Billable hours. That's the big winner, as always. Yeah. All right, let's get to the Chipolytics. Tiger Woods going to win his 6th green jacket, right?
No, but Chipolytics. I'll tell you what, the Chipolytics are just hoping for Tiger cut sweats.
You can't. How do you even have Chipolytics on Woods? They can't be even good to make the cut.
What? No, we just. I'm saying this is factoring in the interest.
Right.
Always got my mind on just the general vibe. You want to have everybody locked in to see if we can be able to get them on the right side of that cut and be able to get them to the weekend. Tiger in the weekend is a great thing.
Yeah, but he's not even going to finish. He didn't finish last year.
I know.
He didn't finish the PGA. He didn't finish Riviera. He hasn't completed a 72-hole event in more than a year and a half.
Tiger Woods said this year, I ache every day.
Yeah.
For those of us who ache every day, we just want to see him finish.
I want people. I'm not hating on Tiger Woods. I want him to play 4 rounds on television. I want him on my I'm not under any illusions that if I want to watch Tiger Woods on television on Saturday, it's going to be at masters.com because he's going to be featured group because he's going to be the first or second group off. He might be playing with one of those playing markers, so he's not playing by himself. I don't anticipate very much from him. So I have a couple of odds real quick, and then we'll get to the Chipolytics and the tournament. Birdie or better on the first hole is plus 800.
For Tiger?
Yeah, for Tiger.
Oh, pass.
Yeah, exactly. What are you talking? Why am I giving you the money? I mean, it's no chance. If I dropped it to par or better at plus 200, would you take it?
Oh, par the first? Yeah.
He's got bogey the first. Par or better through 3 holes is even money.
Ugh. I don't like these odds. These odds are bad vibes. Remember, vibes are a big part of Chipolytics. Like I have since we have gone legal here now almost a month. Right. I have cashed out a golf pick because I didn't like the vibes of it.
Really?
Yeah. I was sitting on a Denny McCarthy outright, and I just didn't want I wanted it for Akshay, right? My emotions had gotten in, and my cash out had gotten so that I doubled, it wasn't the full payout of if McCarthy had won. So but I was just like, my heart's not in this. I don't want him to melt down right here and miss out on the opportunity to log this win, get into the Masters. And so I was appreciative of our legalized environment that allowed me to just be like, you know what? We're profitable here. Let's cash this McCarthy ticket and let's step away. And so when he threw his shoulder out doing a fist pump, I was not financially invested in that moment.
Oh, that's look, how were you when McCarthy was making 8 birdies on the back?
Well, I was in a great spot because I saw that cash out value going up, Oh,
okay, I see.
Yeah, you're just sitting there, you're watching it, and you're like, and some people I know hate on the cash out, but for golf especially, sometimes you got to know when to just be able to call it. So
yeah. By the way, Akshay tees off at 12:24 tomorrow. Another local guy from Leesville Road, Grayson Murray, tees off at 11:06. Murray's had a little bit of a resurgence here. He's a hell of a player. They're playing in groups that not necessarily worth. Your featured grouping.
Featured groups, which you can watch on Paramount Plus.
There you go. Bogey-free round for Tiger, plus 900. Any round, bogey-free, plus 900.
No, that's not the way he plays. He's going to have like 3 birdies, 3 bogeys.
Yeah.
3 birdies, 5 bogeys, 2 over.
That's as bad a bet as plus 800 for birdie or better on the opening hole. A hole-in-one is plus, I believe, 10,000. That's actually, I kind of like that better. I kind of like hole-in-one better.
I mean, obviously, I like that better. And as somebody who just whimpered away the fact that we had 0 buzzer beaters in the NCAA tournament.
That's right. None.
0.
None.
Saw that one just flitter away on Monday night. Goodbye.
I did
Will there be a buzzer beater? Yes, absolutely. It's March Madness. Come on.
It was before legal wagering, so I was just doing it for fun. I had a 16th hole-in-one at Phoenix that nobody really came close to. All right, so who do the Chipolytics like to win this Masters, Chip Patterson?
So I think that Brooks is in a really good spot right now.
Yes. I just happen to have written him down.
I think that Brooks Koepka, who was up on the mic, and he was saying some things that spoke to me.
Oh,
you know?
Absolutely.
He was talking about patience, things that he's learned as a father.
He's been a father for like a minute?
Well, I mean, it was enough that he got his little boy out there at Miami to watch him stink it up. But,
he hated that golf course so much. He could not have been talking less glowingly about it.
He talked about the lessons that he learned from last year. I think that there's, the comments of, what does it mean to you to be tied with these people for 5 majors? And his response is, I don't know, but I know that there's 19 ahead of me on that list.
Yeah, there's not 19. He's obviously eliminating some. There's not 19 ahead of him. He must be including the guys at 5 and then kicking out some of the old guys like Harry Vardon. But
that's somebody who plans on winning more major championships.
Oh yeah.
In terms of a little bit longer shots, like ones who I'm looking at to just filling out a fantasy lineup or anything else. I like Shane Lowry. I like Hideki Matsuyama. I think that Siwoo's had a really good spring and is trending in the right direction.
Yes, he has.
So those are going to be some, obviously, like I'm gonna go down with the ship. Xander's so good. I just at some point it's got to happen.
Plus 1,400 to win for Xander, plus 2,000 for Brooks Koepka. Give me a first round leader.
Oh, Akshay.
Really?
What? Why not? I mean, like
even with his shoulder.
First round lead. Let's see. I'm not good at first. Are you good at first round leaders?
No, I'm terrible at all of this.
Okay.
Nobody should ever take my advice ever.
I've got a colleague over at Sportsline, which is like our gambling outfit at CBS Sports. I'm on the early edge every Friday at 10 a.m. Sia Najad is very, very good at doing first round leaders.
Really?
He hits like 4 a year. And of course, you hit one first round leader, the odds payout is incredible.
Yes,
If you hit 4 a year, you're making a lot of money. I don't have a good feel for that. Especially, I would not recommend first round leader this year at the Masters, unless, of course, I'm not going to yuck your yum. But we got thunderstorms coming on Thursday. The first round might not end till Friday morning.
That is true.
It's going to be it's going to be, honestly, even on outrights. I was texting a buddy today. I said, I might wait until we get everything lined up, like almost maybe even to the weekend, and then jump back in and be able to, figure out who's who and what's what, because there are going to be significant advantages based on when your tee time is, when your waves are, how much golf can get done, how much golf is played in the rain, in the wind. All those things are going to make the first 2 days really, really wonky. So I'm very curious to see who ends up emerging out of it. But also, yucky golf goes back to my Shane Lowry. I think that's somebody who can plot around in adverse conditions.
I like it, and I like the twitching Denny McCarthy to be a first-round leader, or Joaquin Neiman. Neiman's plus 3,000. McCarthy is plus 6,000. Your Siwoo Kim, who I had written down as a potential contender here, plus 4,500 first-round leader. Somehow Tiger Woods is plus 6,000 to be the first-round leader. My assumption is he's the only player who finishes the first round. Everybody else, I don't know, leaves when Tiger Woods posts like a 4-under.
Oh, that's the path. Hey, tell me the game script for Tiger Woods as the first round leader.
Everyone else is gone. Let's let it go.
Yeah, he posts a 73. Everyone else walks off the course.
Actually, there's an interesting bet, and I'll leave you on this. Is that you could bet that he goes 74-73, which is a repeat of last year, right? You could bet that, or you could bet 73-72 at FanDuel. America's number one sportsbook, I'm told. Chip Patterson, you're the best, as always, my friend. Talk to you next week. Is your pick Brooks?
Yeah, my pick's Brooks.
I think that's the right pick, to be honest. All right, sir. Talk to you next week.
Sounds good. Y'all be well.
Chip Patterson is the best. All right, we have stretching to do. I need to limber up. And we also have bets to make, some of which I might have already bet. Next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Are you struggling with your Medicare drug costs? The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program may be able to help. The Extra Help and Medicare Savings programs are available for those who qualify, but you have to apply. Contact SHIP today to see if you qualify. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
Fair housing is more than just a celebration in April. For North Carolina's realtors, it's an everyday standard. For the 56,000 realtors across our state, we embrace and support fair housing to stamp out discrimination in all forms. As realtors, we believe fairness is worth fighting for, and we won't stop until the fight is won. Celebrating Fair Housing Month, North Carolina Realtors. We open doors to everyone. Paid for by North Carolina Realtors.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Charlotte this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 25 different sports. The Body Armor State Games features 13,000 athletes and 700 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Harris Teeter, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Trust ACT Construction Equipment and Bandit Wood Chippers and Stump Grinders to position your tree service for success. ACT Construction Equipment is your authorized dealer for sales, service, parts, and rentals for Bandit Wood Chippers and Stump Grinders. ACT Construction Equipment has been your authorized dealer for Bandit equipment for over 10 years. Visit one of our 6 North and South Carolina locations or actce.com for more details on Bandit Wood Chippers and Stump Grinders. ACT Construction Equipment, always the right equipment for the job.
Healthcare.gov is here for you when life happens. If you lost your health coverage because of turning 26, going off Medicaid, leaving your job, or moving, you could be eligible to enroll in new coverage now. And if you need to update your coverage because of marriage or having a baby, you could also be eligible. But don't wait. There's a limited time to enroll. Check your eligibility at healthcare.gov today. Life happens. Get covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
St. Louis brought the world gooey butter cake. Now Bluebell brings us gooey butter cake ice cream, a cake batter ice cream with a luscious cream cheese swirl and gooey butter cake pieces. It's the gateway to the best in pints and half gallons.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
Agriculture drives our local economy. I'm Lee Ivey, Director of the Agricultural Institute at NC State University, and we are looking for our next generation of leaders. If you want to make a difference and help feed the world, join us at the Ag Institute, where we grow successful graduates, productive futures, and rewarding lifestyles. We offer 2-year degrees and hundreds of internships. Learn more online by searching NC State Ag Institute. Deadline for fall enrollment is June 1st. 2 years, 1 degree, endless possibilities.
This is Adam Gold.
Dan on Twitter, who you got? Robert Plant or Elvis Presley? That is actually very difficult because I don't want to disrespect Elvis Presley. I think it's Elvis. It's very, very close. And that is an incredible question.
The Adam Gold Show.
Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. It's not Victoria.
Hello.
Victoria tweeted that she's at Drive Shack.
Oh, nice.
She said that this is the closest she'll get to the Masters this week. She
Fair
doesn't
enough.
care. She does not care a single bit about golf. She's such a hater.
Hit it straight, Victoria. That's all I can tell you.
You don't even have to. You got to aim at little targets. I've done the Drive Shack and the Top Golf thing already. They're fun. They're fun. You got to be a member though at Top Golf.
Really?
Yeah, but your membership you get. I don't know. It's okay. It's not earth shattering, but those places are fun. They have tapped into, so to speak, a market. We should do that for everything. We should do that for for hockey. All right, let's stretch.
All right, I only have one thing for you, Adam, since we're a little
Okay.
close on time. WrestleMania proved how much Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn were holding WWE back. So, considering the allegations of sexual misconduct, including assault and trafficking against Vince McMahon, I'm sorry this is breaking news to anybody, it goes without saying that WWE is better off without its former chairman, regardless of what it means for the quality of the on-screen product. The allegations against the 78-year-old aren't just the subject of a lawsuit filed by a former employee, but also a federal investigation. But while McMahon's legal issues remain in progress at this point, what we can take away from his outing from the company he built into a global giant is that it was, in fact, best for business. WrestleMania 40 over the weekend shattered records. It was critically praised, a rarity for WWE shows in recent years. And while the WWE was already plenty big when Vince was in charge, it would be impossible to argue that it is even better with Triple H, Paul Levesque, and not McMahon in charge of the company's creative. Adam, you may not watch wrestling, but WrestleMania 40.
I used to.
WrestleMania 40 for a lot of people over the weekend, they say that it made them feel like a child again. You had appearances from not only The Rock, John Cena, The Undertaker, Grand Phenomenon, and it was one of their biggest sellouts that they've had in recent years that came from Philadelphia.
All right, that's good. Yeah, I used to watch wrestling when I was a kid, all the time.
So Sting was probably one of your big...
No. I'm much older. I have
Hulk
no idea.
Hogan,
Sting,
Ric
like
Flair.
the guy from Police?
No, not that.
I didn't know Gordon Sumner. I know he's
not
got
Englishman
different
in New York
skills.
Sting.
But No, when I was a kid, I used to watch Bruno Sammartino and Bob Backlund and Superfly Jimmy Snuka, Stan the Man Stasiak, the Iron Sheik,
Ricky Steamboat,
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I watched all those guys when I was a kid. I'll leave that alone.
I'll leave that alone as well. We'll go to some bets to
let's
place.
wager.
Place your bets. Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you.
All right.
I'm going all Masters.
That's fine.
To finish in the top 10, give me John Rahm plus 115 to finish in the top 10 at the end of the Masters.
I'm surprised that's plus money.
I am too.
I am shocked.
But I love
that is
me
plus money.
some plus money.
All right, yeah, well, anything is good. All right, I'm going to give you I already gave you first round leader, Joaquin Niemann plus 3,000.
Plus 3,000.
Plus 3,000, Joaquin Niemann first round leader.
I'll give you my first round leader, Scotty Scheffler plus 1,200.
It's plus 1,200?
Yeah.
How is that even possible? He should be minus 1,200.
That's what I'm saying. So go ahead. I love me the plus value. So Scotty Scheffler plus 1,200 to finish first round. Why not?
You think it's a good idea to go Tiger Woods to win the Masters by 4 or more shots at plus 40,000?
Well, what did I say
earlier? It should be plus 40 million.
What did I say the odds were plus 15,000 earlier? I actually do have Tiger Woods to make birdie or better on his first hole of the tournament plus 800.
I
Because
hope
why not?
I hope you put something on it. I hope you put a bonus bet on it, and it hits. But I think it's a much greater chance he makes bogey than he makes birdie. Much greater chance that he makes bogey. Like, bogey or better might even be minus money. A bogey-free round at any point for Tiger.
Okay.
Plus 900. I think that's in some ways worth it. You never know.
Tiger's going to become the main spectacle of this tournament again, isn't he? Until
he withdraws.
Yeah, until he withdraws because of the weather.
He's playing with Jason Day. The chances that group has a withdrawal is like even money. That somebody from that group doesn't play, has to withdraw at some point during the event.
We have about a minute left. I'll place one more wager.
Okay.
Another top 10 finish. Roy McIlroy plus 110.
Again, even surprise. I don't know how much pressure is really on Rory because I don't know that people are looking at him as somebody who's really going to win this week. Tiger to duplicate last year's scores, 74-73.
Okay.
Is plus 12,500, plus 12,500. I kind of dig that. All right, now I'm going to do a Champions League parlay. I'm just going to give you two winners. Atletico beats Dortmund, and PSG beats Barcelona. Parlay those plus 255. And there you go. We'll get to the Wall of Sound, and in the Wall of Sound, there is stuff you absolutely have to hear. So stick around. Then we'll talk to Bob Harrig from Augusta National.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And right now, since we're live in North Carolina, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you make your first $5 wager. You don't even have to win the wager. So if you had Martin Necas scoring the first goal for the Hurricanes last night at plus like 600, it doesn't matter that the NHL ruled it off. Just go to FanDuel.com, promo code AdamGold to sign up. FanDuel.com, promo code AdamGold, $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you place your first $5 wager. FanDuel.com, promo code AdamGold to get started on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Must be 21 and older and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only, $10 deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone. Available for a limited time. It's Bo time.
There's no time like Bo time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop. Introducing Bojangles' new Bird Dog, a seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supreme, dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all on a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 Bird Dogs for just $5 or a 2 Bird Dog combo for just $8. Hurry, Bo's Bird Dogs are available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's Bo time.
Adam Gold here from my friend Dr. Lori Travers and Travers LASIK, the Triangle's only LASIK specialist who can take you to 20/20 vision, and it's more affordable than you think. 0% financing for 24 months is available, and in the spring, giving you $1,000 off. That's right, $1,000 off in the spring. All you got to do is call 919-510-6830, 919-510-6830, Travers LASIK. See what you've been missing.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Gabby.
Hey, Gabby. It's Jennifer Coolidge. Hi. I'm so glad I reached you at 2 a.m.
Oh, of course. Anyone with a Discover card can call and talk to a real person 24/7. Now, how can I help?
Yeah, I used my Discover card to buy these yellow pleather pajamas, and I'm just not sure I'm pulling them off.
24/7 U.S.-based customer service. It pays to Discover. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/creditcard.
Your new Academy Sports and Outdoors store is now open in Knightdale with great brands at the best prices. In here, you'll always find the gear you need to do what you love out there. Get it all at your new Academy Sports and Outdoors store in Knightdale.
April is here, and if your windows won't open for fresh air or seal tight to keep out pollen and bugs, then talk to Window Nation right now. For every 2 windows you buy, you'll get 2 free. There's no limit to how much you could save. Plus, you could save even more with no interest or payments for 24 months. With proven quality, you'll get affordable windows that meet or beat the national brands. Don't miss out. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com to schedule your free in-home estimate.
This hour on the Triangle Sports Leader is brought to you by the Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
Shoots, he scores!
Go to GotBryan.com. That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
This is the Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Rahm wins the Masters Marathon.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I've got Azaleas on the desk. Master starts tomorrow. Graham Hill is here. Placed a bunch of Tiger Woods bets. Par or better through 3 holes. I just don't see it. I think he bogeys 1. I think he pars 2. He might even bogey 3. I'm so not bullish on. He just hasn't played.
Well, when my bets go wrong, I'll just think of this nice, relaxing music that's playing right now.
It is great
to stop me from throwing a golf club through my TV.
It is great. So there you go. Look, I want him to do well. I want Rory to do well. I don't have great hopes for Rory McIlroy, but it is interesting. He could backdoor a top 10 at plus 115. He could easily shoot 65 on Sunday to finish T7 or higher, like he did 2 years ago, where he and Colin Morikawa both holed out of the greenside bunker on 18 back to back in this play in the same pairing. I think he ended up third. He shot like a final round 66. So it's inevitable. It's one of those things that's going to happen. But I am excited. I think I might even be more excited for this Masters than I have been for Masters in the past. It's not my favorite major by any stretch. I mean, I much prefer the Open Championship and the U.S. Open to the Masters and the PGA. It's just what I grew up, what I really loved the most. I love those two events. The Open Championship, because it's on as soon as you get up.
Yeah.
Or even before. Like if you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, there's a bunch of people who have finished. Done. Like, wow. Who's that guy who's got the lead? He's 5 under par. Where is he from? Thailand. There you go. Not that he's playing in Thailand, but they tee off at like 2 o'clock in the morning Eastern. Actually, they tee off before then. They have tee times before 2 a.m. Eastern because it's light. It gets light there during the summer at like 6 o'clock.
It sounds like a thought process you'd have if your night's still going at 6 in the morning.
Absolutely.
Where's this guy from? Thailand?
100%.
All right.
100%.
Minus 250? Sure, why not?
Gosh. All right, let's get to a wall of sound. I mentioned there was something
The wall of sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
I mentioned there was something you absolutely had to hear, and we are going to get to that. Let me just caution Orioles fans that this is for you. If you are a fan of the Baltimore Orioles, it is for you what you have to check out. All right, let's get to the hockey game last night. I'm kind of bummed, and we are going to talk to Trip Tracy at the bottom of the hour. So we are going to get to the Hurricanes' best performance of the year coming up at the bottom of this hour when Trip Tracy joins us. Because I thought the Hurricanes were better last night, given the circumstances, given the opponent, given what was on the line, given the venue, than they have been at any point this year because I thought it most resembled who they're supposed to be. Of all the wins they have had, to me, this one most resembled who they are. Even though, frankly, they could have gotten a few more goals out of it. They didn't, but that's fine. That's probably who they are going forward. Right? They don't have the McDavids, the McKinnons, the Matthew. They don't have that. They don't even have, like, the Zach Hymans or the Sam Reinharts over 50 goals. All right, let's Rod Brindamore. Overall, what'd you think?
Well, I think it was a great team win. Good team effort. Everybody played solidly. A couple big plays, obviously. Jarvis shorthand goal. That's a big, probably put the game away there. Could go a different way if they get a power play goal. So, and then Cooch made some real good saves in the third when they kind of had their push going. So, but overall, I just thought it was a good 20-man effort.
Yes, it was a good 20. He said 20 minutes. Did he say good 20-minute effort?
Was the third period not good?
They played great. The third period was very good. All of Boston's shot attempts and scoring chances basically came. There were a couple early in the third period that Kochetkov had to deal with, but for the most part, all of Boston's shots and chances came in the last 5 minutes of the game when it was already 4-1. So, yeah, Carolina was awesome last night. Best they've played. Brad Marchand didn't have a shot attempt. Not a single shot attempt in the game. David Pastrnak had 2. 1 on goal and 1 not. That's it. That's how good Carolina was. Their 2 big guys did nothing. Nothing. Carolina was outstanding defensively. Andrei Svechnikov scored a lacrosse goal last night. It was Carolina's first goal. It was not given on the ice in the run of play. The NHL had to review it and then blow the siren from a remote location, probably, 45 seconds later. Can he now rank his 3 lacrosse goals?
The first one is always first one, so it's kind of always will be. And, obviously it's fun to score those ones, and I'm glad I did that, and we got the win.
Yes, you did. What goes through your mind when you're going to attempt it?
Yeah, the first one, it's kind of, obviously, it's always the first one, and you get lots of text messages. I didn't open my phone yet, but I'm sure there will be some. But the second one was more quiet. I'm sure the third one would be more quiet as well. But, it's always exciting, and I'm not scoring for something, I just kind of trying to help the team to win, and, I like to score those ones as well.
I thought last night's was he got to it quicker than the others.
I think that might be his most impressive one.
I think it is because it almost happened, literally like at speed.
Yeah.
Right?
And to cut in from the corner.
At speed. The one against Calgary, which was the first goal of that game, I believe, or they might have been behind, he was just standing behind the net. And and it caught everybody by surprise. The next one against Winnipeg also caught people by surprise, but again, I think he was more at a standstill. This one, he was skating.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And that Carolina needed a breakthrough because they were dominating the game. And they
had just gotten the goal taken back, too.
Well, that was in the first period. I've already been on my soapbox about that. I will die on the hill that the video, the picture that the NHL is sending out is not definitive proof. It just isn't proof that the puck was not across the line. Unless, I wear readers because I'm like 57. So even though I have 20/20 vision, for reading purposes, up close, I need readers. I see white. I see white above the puck. Could that be snow on the ice? Could be that, ice shavings? Yeah, it could be. But I see white. I'll get lost in a rant about this. I'll do it with Tripp later on. All right, two things very quickly. The first is Adam Schefter on the Patriots being interested in Drake May.
When New England's sitting there at number 3, after Chicago and Washington go, Drake May very well may be the guy that could be the selection in New England. He's been talked about as a top pick all along. The Patriots will be sitting there at number 3. If they don't get an offer to trade out of that spot, and it's going to be tough to do that, New England will be sitting there with the idea of taking their quarterback of choice. A lot of people around the league believe it could be Drake May at number 3 to New England.
I love Adam Schefter, but he is the master of really not saying anything definitively.
Oh, yeah.
They probably could be taking what some believe to be their choice at quarterback, possibly, maybe. It's beautiful. I love it.
Sure, Adam.
Look, I'll be shocked if Drake May's off the board, is still on the board after 3. Shocked. I still think Washington is going to take Drake May. I think he has everything you need to be a good quarterback in the NFL. Everything. But I have been wrong before. All right, finally, I promised Orioles fans this. The number 1 prospect in Major League Baseball, Jackson Holliday, whose father, Matt Holliday, played a long time in the big leagues, is getting called up. Here's how it sounded as his AAA manager is telling him.
So for tomorrow, trying to get guys out early. But first, tonight, I want you to call your dad. I want you to talk to him, and I want you to thank him for all the times that he's allowed you to come to the clubhouse, be on his pass list, let you hit with the big boys. That's pretty special, and it plays into a lot of what you're about. The second thing I want you to tell him is that now it's time for him to ask permission to be on Jackson Holliday's pass list because you're going to the big leagues.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
That's
all right.
Awesome.
I'm fired up.
I appreciate it.
I'm fired up. You've been exceptional down here, brother. To be 20 years old,
I appreciate
to handle all this stuff, dude.
That's awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Call your dad.
I will.
That was a nice handshake.
That was great. Jackson Holliday getting up to the big leagues. Congratulations to him. When we come back, Bob Harrig, Sports Illustrated from Augusta, next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Golf's first major will be found on 99.9 The Fan. Listen all week long as we cover golf's lasting tradition, the Masters. Find out if John Rahm can go back-to-back at Augusta.
Rahm wins the Masters Marathon.
Depend on us for constant leaderboard updates and every big moment through the presentation of the Champion's Jacket. Coverage of the Masters on 99.9 The Fan is teed up by Trayburn Country Club, the Triangle's Golf Escape.
Adam Gold here from my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. He is my very good friend. As a matter of fact, we have shared pizza and soup of the day and root beer stories on many occasions. He will understand that. You don't have to. All you need to know is that if you want the best mortgage you can get, that's where you go. Miller Lending, MillerLending.com. Great website, all sorts of helpful videos. Don't be frightened into thinking that the rates today are where they're going to be forever. They will come down, always happens in an election year. Last I checked, it is an election year. Miller Lending, this is the place to go. You won't pay closing costs, save yourself thousands of dollars, and then when the rates come down, and they will, you refinance free of charge, lower your monthly payment, and you still haven't paid a dime in closing cost. 11 mortgages in my life through Miller Lending have never paid a dime in fees. MillerLending.com, that's where you go. Miller Lending's an equal housing lender, NMLS ID 2502146.
If you see me stopped in the McDonald's drive-thru, just staring at the menu with my "what should I order" face, don't interrupt. It's the most important decision I'll make all day.
Enjoy savings every day when you get a McDouble, McChicken, and other faves. Buy one, get one for $1. Plus, get any size Dr. Pepper for just $1.29. Price and participation may vary. Valid for product of equal or lesser value. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Dallas Brule from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina, and the Spring Open House is coming up this Friday and Saturday. And I know one of the things that we're going to be able to see, all different types of siding. This is your favorite thing, isn't it? Siding.
Yes, Adam, our siding products, the vinyl products, the Hardy Plank products, the factory-painted Hardy Plank siding products. You know, as the weather warms up, if you're walking around your house, it's time for a paint job. If you see a little bit of rotten wood here or there, a great investment, a great way to fix all that is to remove all the siding and go back with either factory-painted Hardy Plank or vinyl siding, and it adds a lot of value to your home. Plus, with our financing, you don't pay 1 penny till we're done and you're 100% happy, and we can also fix it up where it's 18 months, same as cash, with no interest.
Well, you're just speaking right to me. I don't even need siding, and I want siding now.
A lot of times we're getting the call, people are surprised at how much the paint job costs. A lot of times you can get the siding products, the vinyl siding, for not much more.
Aluminum Company of North Carolina.
1335 Hamlin Road, or go to our website at aluminumcompany.com.
Spring, new beginnings, maybe new chances at life in the bedroom? Guys, if Mother Nature needs a little assistance helping you spring into action, Arise Urology Clinic offers the hope and help you need, thanks to Core Wave Therapy. Spring on over to CoreWaveTherapy.com to check out CoreWave, or call Arise Urology Clinic for Men at 919-459-5400. Again, learn more or schedule an appointment today at CoreWaveTherapy.com.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-275-1728. That's 800-275-1728.
This is Adam Gold.
Dan on Twitter, who you got? Robert Plant or Elvis Presley? That is actually very difficult because I don't want to disrespect Elvis Presley. I think it's Elvis. It's very, very close. And that is an incredible question.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Graham Hill is sitting in for Victoria today, who's hanging out at Drive Shack. She's just hitting 8 irons somewhere, and it's the Masters. Everybody's got the bug. Everybody's got the bug, including my friend Bob Herrig from Sports Illustrated. Before we get into the Tiger book, Bob, I appreciate your time. We spoke to Scott Mishaw from Global Golf Post and the Irish Examiner, and now we've got a Substack. That's awesome that you guys are kind of
going in on together. How did you get mixed up with Scott? We lose him? We lost him. Okay, we'll have to get him back. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to. He's going to call him right back. All right, we got there's a lot. He's got a new book out about Tiger Woods, and Tiger Woods is insisting that he's still got what it takes to win the Masters. Anyway, Bob Herrick from Sports Illustrated will join us in just a second. But everybody's got the bug, and it was cool for a local guy. And there are some North Carolina people with North Carolina ties, obviously, in the Masters. But Akshay Bhatia, who's a local kid, and Grayson Murray, who went to Leesville Road High School. I don't exactly remember where Akshay went to high school. Those two players are in the field, and they are relatively new entrants to the field because Akshay won last week to get in, and Murray won earlier this year, I believe, to get in. So it's been it's certainly been a good year for local golf here in the Triangle. But I said this earlier. I'm probably more excited for this than I am any other Masters, and I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I kid you not. I do think it has something to do with the fact that we have a fair amount of players at the top of their game that play on the LIV Tour that we don't see. I mean, you can see it, but we generally don't. And it's the first time that all these guys are back together. And I think that's very cool. Drive, The Lasting Legacy of Tiger Woods is the new book by Bob Herrick. I won't get into how you got mixed up with Scott Mishaw in the Substack, but I love both of you guys, so I hope people subscribe to it because you guys are awesome at it. So The Lasting Legacy of Tiger Woods. I think we know what it is. He is it fair to say he is the greatest player of all time?
Well, I don't go so far as to say that. I go down the road of that his legacy is about more than the victories. His legacy is about his drive, his resiliency, his willpower. He doesn't have the record he has without having the qualities that we've seen to, come back to win the Masters after spinal fusion surgery, or come back to win the Masters despite having two, hairline fractures in his leg, or, shooting 40 at Augusta and somehow, writing it between nines to shoot 30 on the back nine and go in and win by 12, or the 142 straight cuts. Like, Tiger's got immense skills even to this day. He's got great talent. He was obviously, gifted and had a lot of things that others didn't have: great length, great flexibility, a great short game, all those things. But, a lot of people have great talent and squander it.
Right.
And he did not do that. He didn't take a day off in the gym. He didn't take a day off when it came to, trying to get better. He didn't let himself say, yeah, you know what, I can miss a cut here. I'm not playing great. I'll take the weekend off. He just didn't do that. For 7 years, he didn't miss a cut.
Right.
And then, when you come back after that car crash, he totally underplayed it. He didn't make it out like he was going to be back for the 2022 Masters. And then he came back and played and made the cut. And he basically said, look, from the time I got out of the wheelchair, I tried to do something every day. My goal was to get back. Look, that won't go down in the record books, but it's an amazing accomplishment. That's sort of what I try to capture in the book. It's a lot more than just the raw numbers of 82 wins, 15 majors, 142 cuts, all that stuff. It's beyond that.
Bob Herrick is joining us from Sports Illustrated. The Drive, The Lasting Legacy of Tiger Woods. It is one of the most amazing things about him. It really isn't the 15 majors or the 82 titles. It's that he won a major on a broken leg and a torn ACL, that he won a major coming back after back fusion surgery, where, man, if he doesn't get into the car accident, he might have won a couple of others because his talent was that good. And he probably would have been a threat to win if he doesn't have the car accident, might have been a threat to win the Masters and the Open Championship, which doesn't have a premium on length at all, and has imagination and creativity and precision. He might have been able to win those into his 50s.
Absolutely. I mean, now, Tiger still has a bad back.
Yes.
And something that's forgotten is 2 months before his car crash, he had another microdiscectomy, which was the fourth one he's had. So he had, and look, I know way too much about these words. Like, I can actually spell it without looking it up.
Wow.
But, you know, he had 3 microdiscectomies, which led to the spinal fusion. They didn't work. He was in agony back in 16, 17.
Right.
He didn't barely play. He didn't play in 16. He didn't play at all.
Right.
And then he tried to come back, and he couldn't do it. That's when they went to the spinal fusion. So they had the spinal fusion. He has a great 2018. I recount a lot of that, too. You know, he won the Tour Championship.
Yep.
He contended in 2 majors. He played a big schedule, 21 events, made the Ryder Cup team, although they got trounced, and he was not good there, but he did make it. And then he wins the Masters in 2019. He also goes to Japan and wins another tour event.
Zozo, yeah.
At the end of 2019, he was the playing captain for the U.S. President's Cup team and went 3-0.
It's great.
At Royal Melbourne. And then, so that was like late 2019, right? So in early 2020 is when the pandemic rolled around. And that set Tiger back in a different way. Like, he wasn't able to be competitive. Like, the tournaments he played in were lackluster.
Yeah.
He didn't do well without fans. And so late that year, though, he needed another microdiscectomy. It was done around Christmas time. And now, because the other part had been fused, that means the microdiscectomy, of course, he's never explained this, but it would have had to have been a level up higher on the spine. What happens is like, he puts a lot of pressure on that area, and it was bound to have an impact somewhere else. So in 2021, before that crash, there was a lot of doubts as to when he was going to play again that year. Obviously, the crash took all that off the table. But yet, let's say there was no crash. Maybe it would have been 3 months, 6 months, and Tiger would have been probably okay again to be competing. And so then by 2022, where he has a major at St. Andrews where he would have clearly wanted to play. He has a major where he did play and missed the cut. He has one at Oak Hill where he had won a PGA Championship. He made the cut there, but his ankle was a mess.
Right.
You know, so it's fair to wonder, like, how much more could he have done had he not gone through all these injuries? Take it all the way back to 2014 when he had the first one. He missed 2 majors that year.
Yep.
In 15, he was not the same. He missed 3 cuts in majors. You know, like 16 and 17, he played no majors at all. So that's like, you know, there's like 10 or 12 major opportunities lost.
Bob Herrig is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. If he makes the cut, it's a win. I believe that in his mind he thinks that it could all come together and he could contend, but I don't really believe that he truly believes it. But I'm going to let him have it because it is Tiger, and just making the cut would be, to me, I think, a pretty big victory. 24 cuts made in a row at Augusta. Let me ask you about a couple of other quick players. Scottie Scheffler is the favorite because he is the best player in the world tee to green. Is there somebody else you think is his biggest challenger here?
For somebody who's Scheffler's biggest challenger?
Here.
Yes. Well, first of all, I think his biggest challenger is his own putter.
Right.
You know, so like he's obviously that's been an issue for him. But I actually think that, you know, as big of a favorite as he is, you know, golf is golf. It doesn't always work out that way. it's not like picking one team over another. Picking one player over 50, even though he's so good right now and so consistent, I can understand why people like him. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if he won. But I think you have to look beyond him. I like Matsuyama a lot. Hideki, people forget about him. Yeah. He won the Masters a few years ago. He won at Riviera earlier this year. He shot 62 in the final round. His last 2 starts were top 10s. And obviously he's played well here. He's a good player at Augusta. So, just like Scheffler is. So, why couldn't Matsuyama be good?
He could.
We've got a lot of other stars in the game who've not been very good this year who need to show some form if they want to contend.
Final thing for you, Bob Herrick, and I think the book's going to do great because this element you're capturing of Tiger is, I think, what draws a lot of people to him beyond the fact that he was the most compelling, in my lifetime, the most compelling athlete for me ever. Nobody ever did to his sport what Tiger did to golf. Nobody. Not Jordan, not Federer. Tiger was. There's how many Tiger versus the field, and you thought about it. Like, really? Like, even money, Tiger versus the field. Because he was at one point at an Open Championship, which he won, even money versus the field, which is Scheffler's odds here plus 400. That's amazing to me. He's way ahead of everybody else. Rory McIlroy. Or let me ask this question. I don't want to ask about Rory because we have to go here in a second. I am more looking forward to this Masters than I have any other Masters probably in the last 10 years. I don't know why that is. Could it be that I'm going to get, for the first time, I'm going to get a chance to see a lot of these players who have gone to live playing against PGA Tour players again?
Yeah, it's the first time since July. Absolutely. That's the problem with the game right now. Got a lot of issues in the game. Like, Rory has not played in the same tournament as Brooks Koepka since Royal Liverpool. And no matter what you feel about LIV, and I understand people hate it and get it, there's plenty of reason for that. I understand their reasoning. These you can say it all you want. These guys, that's their choice. That's the decision they made. Yeah, well, that is a decision they made, but how does that impact? How does that help us? Like, let's be selfish as fans. Don't we want the best?
Right.
Well, some say, oh, no, I don't care about them anymore. Well, I do. Or a lot of people do. Like, you might not like Bryson for what he did, but Bryson's a hell of a player.
Yep.
And we're only going to see him here at the Masters against Rory, and that's it. And then the PGA and the 2 Opens. That's why I think there's a sense that there needs to be something that happens, because it's not good for the game. Look at other sports. I realized a long time ago, but if you read up on the USFL, the reason it didn't ultimately fly is because you want all the best players playing together. Well, Doug Flutie and Jim Kelly playing in the USFL meant they couldn't play in the NFL.
Right. Reggie White.
Right. Look, I don't know. I'm not a great football expert. I just named those 2 off the top of my head. Herschel Walker,
yep.
Doug Flutie, right? There's a bunch of them. Even though football is incredibly popular in this country and a spring league could have made it, it was viewed as a rival. And rivals typically do not work in American sports. We want one entity. So it would be way better if we had one entity where there's we can still have the PGA Tour and LIV, but they need to have some sort of vehicle for them to come together more than just the majors. And I think that's what they need to strive for.
Yeah, I want to have a deeper conversation with you about this as we get into the major season. I appreciate your time, Bob. I hope the book does great. I know it will. I hope the Substack does great. I know it will. I appreciate your time, and enjoy the Masters. I'll talk to you again soon.
Sounds great. I appreciate you having me, Adam.
You got it. You too. Bob Herrick. All right, when we come back, I got on a soapbox earlier about the disallowed goal that Carolina didn't get after scoring in the first period last night against Boston. I have had conversations with reasonable people who disagree with my assertion that that was not a definitive photograph that shows that the puck did not cross the line. I just disagree. I do not think it's definitive. I'm not saying it's proof one way or the other. I'm just saying the photograph that has been used is not it. But we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about the game, which I think was the Hurricanes' best of the season, with Trip Tracy next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Trust ACT Construction Equipment and Bandit Wood Chippers and Stump Grinders to position your tree service for success. ACT Construction Equipment is your authorized dealer for sales, service, parts, and rentals for Bandit Wood Chippers and Stump Grinders. ACT Construction Equipment has been your authorized dealer for Bandit equipment for over 10 years. Visit one of our 6 North and South Carolina locations or actce.com for more details on Bandit Wood Chippers and Stump Grinders. ACT Construction Equipment, always the right equipment for the job.
It's playoff time in the NBA and the NHL. Baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Adam Gold here, and right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you make your first $5 wager. Because you know me. FanDuel.com, promo code AGS to sign up. FanDuel.com, promo code AGS to sign up. Then you can bet on anything. Slap shots, home runs, slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. $200 in bonus bets await when you place your first $5 wager. Visit FanDuel.com, promo code AGS to get started. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Must be 21 and older and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Everyone goes through tough times, and everyone can get through them, as long as they don't have to do it alone. Dial 988 if you need someone to talk to. Get what you need to get to a better place. Together, we'll find the care that works best for you. We're here 24/7. Call, text, or chat 988. 988. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
Fair housing is more than just a celebration in April. For North Carolina's realtors, it's an everyday standard. For the 56,000 realtors across our state, we embrace and support fair housing to stamp out discrimination in all forms. As realtors, we believe fairness is worth fighting for, and we won't stop until the fight is won. Celebrating Fair Housing Month, North Carolina Realtors. We open doors to everyone. Paid for by North Carolina Realtors.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
St. Louis brought the world gooey butter cake. Now Bluebell brings us gooey butter cake ice cream, a cake batter ice cream with a luscious cream cheese swirl and gooey butter cake pieces. It's the gateway to the best in pints and half gallons.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
From the food we eat to the clothes we wear, agriculture touches every corner of our daily lives. I'm Lee Ivey, Director of the Agricultural Institute at NC State University. With the world's population growing, we need people equipped and trained to meet the needs of our future. In our program, we rise to meet that challenge every day, and our students are engaged and invested. Learn more about our program online by searching NC State Ag Institute. Deadline for fall enrollment is June 1st. 2 years, 1 degree, endless possibilities.
This is Adam Gold.
Anti-vax, anti-sax. Who's going to say no to that on the campaign trail? You can put that on a bumper sticker. You can slap that on the podium when Aaron Rodgers is at the campaign rally. You're not going to be a football player for the Jets and be on the ticket and campaign. You can't do both.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Graham Hill producing the program, who I will say right now, thank you in advance. He helps push out little bits and pieces of the Canes Corner podcast.
Not very much.
That we do live on YouTube immediately after I'm done with the postgame show. So you'll notice that if you are watching the YouTube version of the podcast, which you could also get in terrestrial form, I have my Carpat sweatshirt on in honor of Sebastian Aho that I was gifted by my friend Trip Tracy, the game analyst, otherwise master of all trades for Hurricanes radio and television. It says dig in on it. I dug in on last night's game. How are you, sir?
I'm just admiring your use of the word terrestrial.
Well, you're a Harvard man. You use words that I don't understand during the course of the broadcast.
Well, with my initials, with my real name being Emmett, it brings me back to the days of E.T.
That's right. He was on the bike. He
was on the bike.
He was on the bike with our extraterrestrial. All right. I actually didn't get really into it in the podcast last night because there were so many other things I wanted to focus on, and I try to keep those at about 30 minutes. Otherwise, sometimes you could get completely lost in the weeds. But let's just start with the disallowed goal, because I think that the NHL does itself a disservice here. It's almost at this point immaterial whether or not I still to this minute believe that it was a good goal that was called off. It's that the NHL does such a poor job of getting the information out, their evidence out for taking the goal away, that everybody should have that. If they decide that the goal is no good, they need to show both broadcasts, yours and Nesson, who had the game local in Boston. They need to show exactly why. And I don't believe we ever got a good enough picture to determine that they should have called the goal off. Am I crazy?
No. On any type of these reviews or coaches' challenges, usually I get an email within the next 10, 15 minutes, but there's not an email that's going to appropriately define their process on this one. In a lot of cases, I'll actually, if in a commercial break, I'll call the review.
Right.
The War Room in Toronto. But the thing that was flabbergasting to me was, you and I talked offline a little bit this morning. I mean, I know the processes inside and out. I mean, I pride myself on the rules and the processes. And the reality is, it's just after a dump-in. So Gislan Hebert, who was the in-zone official, he wasn't positioned on the goal line like, say, he would be on a forecheck to get there quickly, but he really hustled. And he got there, to, in his view, make a strong determination of a good goal call. So that's important because that's your first step. Because unless they make an announcement before they go to, not a coach's challenge here, of course, a standard review, and they, change the call on the ice, they have to let us know. There's no way they change that. And so then once they go, and I had the same determination that you did, that at the very least, it was inconclusive. At the very least.
Right.
My eyes are starting to go at 50. But I was convinced I saw some separation between the puck and the goal line. And so I thought it was a good goal. But at the very least, it's inconclusive. Therefore, you revert back to the call on the ice, which is good goal. Because by overruling that, essentially what you're saying is, well, Gislan Hebert, you worked your can off to get there, and we are telling you your eyes don't matter. So that's the overall process that was mind-boggling to me. And then, Adam, and you and I were talking offline, you get into a couple of things. It's the first couple minutes of good ice conditions, but all the goaltenders rough up their crease.
Right.
There's already a snow buildup, which is going to cause that buildup on the backside of the goal line. I've long thought that they should maybe think about putting in some type of a border to the backside of the goal line that will help them differentiate in close calls like this. You brought up the tennis analogy this morning with lasers and whatnot, which I thought was brilliant. And I just sit there and I say, I ended up moving on like you did with, the post-game podcast. But let me tell you something. I would have blown a gasket of gaskets if this was in a playoff series.
Yes.
Because I just think the National Hockey League, it was a game between two teams, the elite teams in the league, but it's the perfect opportunity for them to not bring trouble upon themselves, bring drama upon themselves. Because it's not that big of a game. It's the first couple of minutes. It's regular season, but they weren't able to avoid that.
Trip Tracy is joining us here. There are two things at work here. The tennis system is a computer, and they can determine with a computer where the tennis ball makes contact with the court, and they could do that with a ball that is traveling 135 miles an hour. And they could not prove to me definitively with a puck at rest that it was across. That makes no sense to me that you couldn't get a computer image of that. Now, the other side of that is the laser thing is, why can't we have a simple laser that would draw the line? Heck, I can put a laser line on a drywall. Why can't we have a laser at the bottom of each post right at the goal line that would simply, when activated, draw the line on the video screen? This would tell us definitively. We have VAR. Now, they get VAR wrong in soccer all the time, but we can draw lines on VAR to determine whether or not somebody is a shoelace offside in soccer.
Oh,
why can't we have that in hockey?
Good point.
So we should be able to have these two things, but we don't. And to me, and you brought it up, if something like that happens in a playoff game, in a deciding game, in overtime, somebody's going to lose a game or win a game they don't deserve.
If that's in a clinching game in overtime of a playoff series, I'm not available to talk to you right now because I'm having a Dr. Phil. And, and I was able to temper it. But, I mean, it's just everything you're right is well thought out and right on. And, I mean, I just sit there and I say, and Hurricanes fans watching, that's one where, I know in some of these reviews, coaches' challenges, it's like a Forrest Gump box of chocolates.
Right.
You don't know what to get because, yes, 10 people, you're not going to have an absolute consensus. But that breakdown was the absolute process without any gray area. And, again, at the very least, it's inconclusive. At the very least, I think, like you, good goal, and you revert back to the call on the ice. But, get ahead of it here with the technology that you mentioned. Bring MacGyver into the war room if you need to.
He'd solve it with chewing gum, with a chewing gum wrapper. MacGyver was always good at that. All right, let me ask you about the quality of the game that the Hurricanes played last night. Because what I spent a lot of time during the podcast, available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast, Canes Corner podcast, was that I thought stem to stern, best game they've played all season, given the circumstances, given the opponent, given the venue, given the stakes, given the way they scored their first 3 goals, which were all born out of hard work more than anything else, heavy forechecking shifts, puck retrievals, all of that. I thought they shut down Marchand and Pasternak, maybe like they've not been shut down at any point this year. I thought everything pointed to that being their best game.
I totally agree, and I guess the one you hit all the pitches there. I guess I would probably add the physicality that Boston had in the first period, and how encouraged I am with the way that the Hurricanes. There was a time that I questioned if at times they were softer than they needed to be, and they were certainly equal to the task there. I mean, I didn't like I didn't mind the hit on Kuznetsov. I thought that was a clean shoulder-to-shoulder hit. I did not like the hit from Marchand on Pesce, but then Pesce goes and challenges him. The linesman won't let him go. But watch Marchand after that. He wanted no part of Brett Pesce.
Right. Brett Pesce.
But
yeah,
they answered the physical tone in the first period. Everybody on board, like you mentioned. I thought that that power play, the abbreviated 5-on-3. I didn't until the end. They really didn't get a lot out of that power play. They could have sagged many a night. We would have said that's where Carolina needed to get in front of the game. That's where they lost the game. They stuck with it. We know what Andre did.
Yep.
And then after McAvoy scored with 3 minutes left in the second period, I thought I was actually happy to see that.
Oh, you said that, yes.
How they'd react in a hostile environment. You're right, partner. They answered all the questions last night.
It was a tremendous game, and to me, it was the most encouraging way to see Andre because he brought physicality in the second period, and I thought he might have to stay right now with Stahl and Martinuk for the same reasons we liked Seth Jarvis there. I think it's forcing Andre to play a very simple game, which is something he needs to bring all the time, more physicality and all of that. And I thought that Seth Jarvis on the shorthanded goal, which was, in part created by his two line mates, Jordan Stahl winning the faceoff, Jacob Slavin with the hard rim around and all of that, but the persistence of Jarvis, I thought he got rewarded there for the game he had up until that point, which was top-notch. And I was more encouraged going forward by last night than I have been at any point during this season.
Yeah, I can't argue. I mean, gosh, if you wanted me to get nitpicky, I'm still looking for some more from Kuznetsov. But I go back to after the Boston game last Thursday at home. First of all, you and I spoke about the fact that with this break, it's a blip. You didn't know what it was going to go one way or the other in extreme fashion, and not to overreact. And obviously they've won 3 straight since then. But the first of the 3 wins you and I spoke about, it was time to go hammer down with speaking about getting the guys that you need going offensively, aside from finding these line combinations, which are still work in progress. But Teravainen, Svechnikov, who didn't play that game Friday, has played 2 excellent games since, and Natchez. And Kuznetsov was the other guy, and I'm still looking for growth from him. But, that for me, aside from you hitting the nail squarely on the head about why you liked last night like you did, is now you've had a stretch of games where the guys that really need to have offensive confidence to create offensive layers and not be vulnerable defensively, they put together, it's not a long stretch, but they put together a nice stretch.
I loved everything about last night. Now we got 3 games left to play. I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of R&R for some of the guys, at least a game off. But we know the top guys don't want to come out of the lineup. It's not about numbers. The top guys just want to play. I will be surprised if any of the top guys take Tuesday off, because now you're risking being out for at least a week. If you don't play Sunday until whenever Carolina starts the playoffs, Saturday, Sunday, or even Monday, that's too long to not be on the ice playing a game. Maybe there's no difference between Tuesday and whenever you start and Sunday and whenever you start, but it could be way too long. Trip Tracy, I will speak to you before then, I promise.
You got it. Can I give just 10-second reaction to what you're right? In that game against Boston, Slavin and Burns were an atypical minus, but I thought Burns really struggled.
Yeah, I agree.
And Burns is a great example of a guy that is so well conditioned that he loves the grind. And so, look at how he played last night versus how he played against Boston at home, coming off that break. So that is, I know he's got the longevity streak of consecutive games,
right,
but he's one particular guy, and there's several others. You're taking a chance with regards to injuries anytime you put somebody in. But, AG, I think, again, you're right on the mark, because Burns is a great example, and there are others. You need them to play as close to game one as you possibly can.
Yeah, they do. That's why I don't think you'll see 20, 24, 59, 88, 92. I don't think 86, who I think Teuvo Teravainen is looking like the real Teuvo Teravainen right now. Love everything about that line, the way he's playing on it. I don't think you'll see Tavo come out of the lineup. If somebody's got an injury, yeah. But if everybody's healthy and they don't have to come out, then they won't. I think we will see Scott Morrow and Tony D'Angelo draw back in because it's been too long for Tony, and Scott needs to get his feet wet just in case. And you're not coming out of the lineup, Trip. I will talk to you very soon, my friend. I'll talk to you later.
Hey, have an extraterrestrial rest of the day, my friend.
Thank you very much. I'll just point. I'll point at the moon. All right, we have just a couple of more minutes left. I don't think I'm being unreasonable. So it's funny to me how many people have sent the picture of this is what the NHL sent out. The NHL sent out to their through their social media the photograph that they use. It's not a photograph, it's a still shot of the video of where the puck was. And I've stared at it forever. And there's no way, if this were a jury, if I were a member of a jury, there is no way I could say, yeah, that's touching the line. It's on the line. No way you could say that. No way you could convince me of it. And again, I think I go very far. Here's my quick take on, because Tripp brought up the Marchand hit on Brett Pesce in the first period, which I thought was just on the legal side of questionable.
Sure.
Right? Questionable hit. You're insinuating it might be a penalty. I thought it was on the legal side. It was from the side. It wasn't to the head, right? It wasn't that. He was on the wall. It wasn't like he was basically on the wall. It wasn't like he was 6-7 feet from the wall, which would have forced him headlong into the wall. But what I do believe about the hit, while it wasn't a penalized, I don't think you could penalize somebody for that hit. What I do think was that it was done with intent and with the full knowledge of what he was trying to do. So to me, it's a dirty play, but isn't necessarily an illegal play. Now, when I said that, I got pushback. That's a penalty. I don't know if it is. I've disagreed with the head coach about whether or not something was goaltender interference about. I'm telling you, I looked at that picture, I don't know how many times, way more than I needed to, just because I was looking for something that other people saw, and I can't see it. I can't see it. I can't tell you with total certainty that it was definitely across the line, but I can tell you this. There is nothing in that photograph that tells me that it wasn't. And that still shot is from behind the puck. And because the line is two-dimensional and the puck is three-dimensional, because the still is taken from behind the puck, it can't be proof. The video isn't sharp enough to tell you what it is. The NHL owes their teams better. And it didn't even matter that the Hurricanes won the game anyway, I guess. They just owe their teams better. Rod had no idea. Graham, thank you very much.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And right now, since we're live in North Carolina, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you make your first $5 wager. You don't even have to win the wager. So if you had Martin Necas scoring the first goal for the Hurricanes last night at plus like 600, it doesn't matter that the NHL ruled it off. Just go to FanDuel.com, promo code AdamGold to sign up. FanDuel.com, promo code AdamGold, $200 in bonus bets, win or lose,
when you place your first $5 wager. FanDuel.com, promo code AdamGold to get started on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Must be 21 and older and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only, $10 deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone. Available for a limited time. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop. Introducing Bojangles' new Bird Dog, a seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supreme, dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all on a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 Bird Dogs for just $5 or a 2 Bird Dog combo for just $8. Hurry, Bo's Bird Dogs are available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's Bow time.
To tell you that Keno picks 20 winning numbers, we wrote a winning number of our own. Hit it, boys. You pick up to 10. Keno picks 20. It's easy to play for a whole